McKinney Boyd's Magical Mystery Tour of 2007 makes a stop today in Tyler, Texas. 5'6" quarterback pinball wizard Darren Alves brings his 2,366 rushing yards to a rainy, cold Rose Stadium in Tyler. Trying to stop the pinball wizard today will be the Marshall Mavericks. The Mavs come from behind victory last week to knock off Texas High right here at Rose Stadium. It's the Class 4A Division I Regional Championship game. McKinney Boyd versus Marshall. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a rainy, cold, miserable day here in Tyler, Texas at Trinity Mother Frances Rose Stadium. And, John Leidy is the one having to bear the front of all of this bad weather. We're up here in a cozy press box, but still, it's going to play a big factor in the game today, isn't it, Brandon?
Yeah, we've got the chestnuts roasting on an open fire up here in the booth, and John's got to stand outside in the cold rain. But I tell you, this is really what high school football in playoff time is about. You don't think of quality weather. You think of things like this, and I'm going to tell you, the way the weather is shaping up, you think that this helps McKinney Boyd's offense out. They like to run the ball with, obviously, you mentioned the yardage Darren Alves has, but they've got a lot of runners last week. And, Jay, you were the stat sheet was starting to smoke. You were writing down so many rushing yards from everybody last week and contributed in the win.
Well, when you have 61 offensive plays and 60 of them are rushes, actually my job was relatively simple last week, and hopefully today it'll be that simple for McKinney Boyd. The elements will play a big part. This is really the first inclement weather game of the season for McKinney Boyd. It's also the longest McKinney Boyd has ever had to travel. The longest prior was when we went to Springtown and did a game. That was about an hour and a half drive from McKinney. This one, 2.5 hours from McKinney. A long, long bus ride. And, Coach Drake, you'll hear in the coaches show, let them use their iPods. They can listen to music on the way over. They could even take a nap on the way over as long as they were quiet and didn't make a lot of noise and thought about what they were supposed to do today.
Yeah, and, that brings back a lot of coaching advice that I got when I was a student athlete playing the high school football game. And if you just think about what you have to do, that ultimately in the end is what it's all going to come down to, because this is their biggest game. There's not a question about it. Up till now, it was by district. Prior to that one, it was a couple district games. This, again, the biggest game they'll ever play, and you want to be focused as a coaching staff and as a player.
Talking about the pinball wizard Darren Alves, he comes in with 296 rushes for 2,366 yards, 29 touchdowns. That's 8 yards per carry for the sophomore 5'6" quarterback. And, he got a little banged up last week in the second half. Coach Don Drake didn't use him quite as much in the second half. Normally he's about a 75% runner of this offense. In the second half last week, about 25%. But I think what that did was open up the offense a little bit and give Joseph Robinson and Montarius Pittman and those guys a chance to actually create some room for themselves as well.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was making reference to with Jay. There were 3 100-yard rushers last week and one that was 14 yards shy. That just doesn't happen. And for a running team to dominate that much tells you what kind of talent they have when a star like Darren Alves has to tone it down a little bit.
And the great thing about it is you're now in a playoff stretch. This is a time of the year where every team knows your star player. Other players are going to have to step up and make plays. And by getting Robinson, Pittman, and Jones into the mix the way they did last week, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if you see a Pittman or a Robinson come up with a huge game today.
If you're wondering about how the officials are selected in this kind of game, that no, they're not from East Texas, no, they're not from North Texas, the officiating crew has been mutually agreed upon and selected by both head coaches. This veteran crew are members of the Houston chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials. At referee since 1991, Michael Price. The umpire since 92 is Virgil Ray. The head linesman since 98 is David Nix. And the line judge since 95 is Billy Epley. And the back judge since 89, Otto Zeck. So this is a very experienced officiating crew that we'll have this afternoon, and I hope that there are dressed warmly.
Yeah, it doesn't get much more seasoned than that crew right there, especially at the high school level. And, again, officials don't make that much of a difference, but, you got to have common ground and, a big call here and there. So we like what we have in those guys.
We're going to take a timeout. We've got about 20 minutes before kickoff. We'll have the Coaches Show, the Senior Spotlight, all of that coming up next on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Tyler's Rose Stadium, or I guess since they made a deal, it's Trinity Mother Frances Rose Stadium here in Tyler, but for time's sake, we'll just call it Rose Stadium the rest of the day. Let's check down with John Leidy on the sidelines. John, he's out in that cold, rainy, miserable afternoon. Go ahead, John, talk to us.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're here in Tyler, Texas, located in Smith County. I have a couple facts about today's game, one being that it's actually 40 degrees and it is raining, which makes it very miserable on a passing game and maybe even the kicking game of a football team. But you have two different teams who come from two different backgrounds. You have the McKinney Boyd Broncos, who come from McKinney, Texas, which was named the fastest growing city in the United States with a population of 50,000 or more. Also, McKinney is named after Colin McKinney, who was actually one of the signers of the Texas Declaration of Independence. Also, Marshall actually gets its name back from the Civil War days, with the Confederate camps being located in Marshall, along with the TMP Railroad that actually came through there. Someone else that's famous from Marshall was Lady Bird Johnson, who was famous for wanting to get wildflowers planted near state highways. That was what her big fact was. Also down here at Tyler Rose Stadium, we're actually on Earl Campbell Field. And Earl Campbell actually led in 1973 John Tyler to the 4A championship. And at the time, 4A was the highest classification in Texas high school football. But once Barry Switzer, the OU coach, Oklahoma University coach, was once quoted as saying that Earl Campbell was the only running back he'd ever saw that in his mind could go straight to pro and actually skip the collegiate level. He was that good. Something else that's famous here in Tyler is the Rose Garden. It's known as the Rose Garden Capitol. Just north of the stadium here, there's actually the actual Rose Garden Capitol. Now, we drove by it earlier, and it's actually magnificent. Also, something else that most people probably won't know is 20% of all roses that actually you see in your store that are in America actually come from right here in Tyler, and about 50% of the bushels that you can buy from your store also come here from Tyler. So I'm going to send it back up to y'all.
All right, thanks a lot, John Leidy. I tell you what, you listen to our broadcast, not only do you get football, you get educated a little bit.
Yeah, first time this year, too. All right.
Leidy insightful as always.
Very, very insightful for John Leidy. Of course, he's talking about Earl Campbell.
Or Camber.
He's a pretty big deal around here.
I'll let him slide on that because Leidy's dealing with the elements right now.
Yeah, I'll give him a slack.
If you don't know too much about Earl Campbell, he, right here from Tyler, Texas. Hey, he started out as a kicker here in Tyler.
That's funny to think.
He was the 6th out of 11 kids. Started out as a kicker when he was 11 years old, and then moved to linebacker and running back.
I would be willing to bet he's one kicker no one picked on.
That's probably true.
Well, I can tell you,
nobody run into the kicker in that situation.
Well, I can tell you nowadays, definitely enjoy a sausage. Sottling's some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, that's what he's most known for now, right? Well, here come the Marshall Mavericks onto the field. The red pants and white jerseys for Marshall, white helmets. And the captains are making their own. No, I guess the whole team's going to come through the run-through. There's not actually a run-through, just a victory line for Marshall. Now, the Boyd captains are already on the field, and the rest of the team is in the tunnel. The big Bronco head tunnel, as they'll run through it in a moment. And Marshall just strolls their way onto the field. No fancy run-through, no fancy tunnel. They just kind of all jog through a victory line. And McKinney Boyd, you're wondering about their lucky blue uniforms. They're 3-0 this year in the blue. They come out today as the home team wearing the blue again. The white stripes over the shoulders, white numerals, dark navy blue uniforms, the blue helmets with the red stripe, the gray pants, kind of like a New York Giants look with the gray pants. But I think we've kind of noted them as Ole Miss looking this year. Again, the captains about to make their way out towards the middle of the field. Rusty Walton being one of them, and Jacob Sigler another, and Justin Cordova will be the three captains making their way out to the center stripe for the coin toss, and we'll have John Leidy down on the sidelines are at the center, at the midfield stripe for the coin toss here in just a moment.
One thing Boyd does that I really like is that they grab all the seniors together, because in the playoffs you could always be one play away from the end of the season. And so what they do is they get all the seniors together, and they're kind of like co-captains, if you will. They don't follow right in front of the team captains all year, but they're right behind them, give them a chance, to get out there and get that feel. And I think that's really something, kind of builds a little team unity, if you will.
Some of those guys are jumping up and down, not because they're excited, but because they're cold.
Well, you can see some exposed calves down there, and that's what's amazing. Is I was thinking about this when I was in school. We had weather like this. It wasn't always, friendly, and there would be some offensive linemen have their exposed calves.
When you see exposed calves, normally it's one of two things. They're either offensive linemen or linebackers. And that's the case down here on the sideline so far.
Yeah, there's Ryan Garrett. Let's see.
Norman Seibel.
Yep. Jeff Fuller, there's an exception for you.
That's true, yeah. Jeff Fuller, of course, on his way to OU. We were talking about Barry Switzer a moment ago. We're still awaiting the captains for Marshall, and I believe they're just about ready, one of them being Darius Jones, the quarterback. Now, they have two different quarterbacks, two styles of quarterbacks, as we head to the national anthem, and we'll let you listen to that right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it is playoff time in Texas. Class 4A Division I Regional Championship. McKinney Boyd and Marshall. We're just about ready for the coin toss. We were explaining a little bit about Marshall and their offense. They will send out probably two different looks on offense, one passing and one running. And when they want to run, Darius Jones is usually the the quarterback. So far this year, 104 carries, 645 yards, and 5 touchdowns on the ground. Now, he does throw it a little bit. 53 out of 113, 3 interceptions and 757 yards and 6 touchdowns. Now, when they really want to throw it, like they did last week when they were down at the half by Texas to Texas High, and they wanted to come back, they put in Jackson Hood, and Hood is the thrower. He went 12 out of 21 last week for 251 yards and a touchdown. On the season, he's 40 out of 80, 5 interceptions, 731 yards, and 6 touchdowns. As we have the captains at the middle of the field, we'll turn the mic on for John Leidy. John? Still awaiting. There we go.
My crew to you real fast. I know it's cold out here, but we're going to get started. My name is Mike Price. I'll be your referee this afternoon. Your line judge will be Billy Efley. Your umpire will be Virgil Ray. Your head linesman will be David Nix. Your back judge will be Otto Zek. Anytime you're in the ball game, you have any questions, just feel free to ask us, okay? All right, we've already done pre-flip in the dressing room. And White has won and deferred. They will be kicking this way. You guys will be receiving. You guys put your backs over here. White, you put your backs over there.
Okay, guys, in case y'all could not actually hear that, Marshall has won the toss, and they're going to kick from the north end zone, and Boyd is going to receive from the south end zone. Back to y'all.
All right, thanks a lot. And, like so many times we explained to you a couple of weeks ago, a lot of these times the coin toss is predetermined.
Yeah, this is one of the first times where I've seen it not actually, where they run through the motions and say, hey, we've already done it. Y'all won. You're doing this, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's do it.
Again, we have a crew from down around Houston, who's not accustomed to maybe a lot of radio broadcasts. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, but apparently they didn't care because they went ahead and said, hey, as we discussed in the locker room, here's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So they pretty much go through the motions and tell us that Boyd will be receiving first here in this regional championship game in Tyler, Texas.
Well, and to me, if you're going to get away from an actual coin toss, that's just the next logical step.
Well, if you're wondering about how many fans made it over here to Tyler, you can tell by the crowd there's quite a few. Now, not normally what you would see at a home game, obviously, or a relatively close road game like Frisco, but quite a few fans made it over here to this cold, miserable day.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that this many made it, because I was thinking, as a player I've played in this, but I don't think as a fan, unless I have a child on the field, I'm not going.
And this is the most east that Boyd has obviously played. However, they've never played east of McKinney. Every one of their road games have been west of McKinney.
So technically a home game's the farthest east they've ever played.
Other interesting notes about this series, Marshall has played McKinney ISD in the past. It's been against the McKinney Lions, however. Back in 1926, McKinney played its first ever playoff game against Marshall on December 3rd, 1926, and lost 47-0. The bad news, I guess, for McKinney ISD here is that no McKinney team has ever scored on Marshall. Marshall has outscored them 109-0.
Yeah, I remember you sent me that stat this week. I was just amazed at the history that the Lions have had. 109-0.
And also,
well, we'll see. I expect Boyd to break that today.
Also, if you're wondering about Rose Stadium and McKinney ISD history over here, McKinney tied Carthage in 58 and advanced on penetrations. They also lost 4 years ago to Tyler Lee in a pre-district game. And here is the kickoff. This regional championship game is underway. It's going to be taken by Joseph Robinson. He lets it go over his head, goes into the end zone. He tries to bring it out and actually stumbles in the end zone. We'll see what the official says. He may have just muffed it. And they're going to call a safety. A safety as Robinson tried to bring it out, stumbled and fell about a yard shy of getting out of the end zone.
Well, what the officials saw, Monty, was they saw Robinson's hands actually touch the football at the 2-yard line. The ball then went into the end zone, and Robinson had no choice but to return it. And it seemed as though, Brandon, he took a second to decide whether or not he wanted to step out of the end zone, and by doing that mental error, that gave Marshall 2 points off the safety.
Well, the most frustrating thing about it to me is this guy's returned kicks all year, and for some reason he didn't go back as far enough as he should have. And that's, like I said, he's done this all year. He knows what he's doing. We've got absolute faith in him, but here's the biggest frustrating thing about it is that it's going to be a touchback, so maybe not so frustrating.
The officials do change their mind. It was Michael Price, the referee, consults with the rest of the officials, and they decide to bring it on out to the 20.
And this is where the rule can be different at different levels, because in the NFL, you touch it before it goes in the end zone. It's obviously a live ball. You can't down it. And I know at other levels that's not the case.
Right after this first down play, we'll give you the McKinney Boyd starting offense, as it'll be 1st and 10 for Boyd, moving right to left.
Well, and let me tell you, that is a huge break, because not only would they have been down on the scoreboard 2 points, but they'd immediately turn around and kick it back to the Mavericks. So this is a big break for the Broncos.
Now we have rain on the window, so it's a little hard to see. Here's Alves. He backs up, wants to throw, rolls left, throws it, and it is almost intercepted at the 35-yard line, in and out of the defender's hands. He was trying to hit his tight end, Cameron Mazer. The ball falls incomplete, and here's your starting offense for McKinney Boyd.
Will Smalley, left tackle.
Michael Tharby, left guard.
Rusty Walton, center.
Brenton Lee is right guard.
Brent White, right tackle.
Cameron Macer, tight end.
Joseph Robinson, slot receiver.
Monterius Pittman, slot receiver.
Grant Gibson, wide receiver.
Jeff Fuller, wide receiver.
Darren Alves, quarterback.
Darren Alves wearing gloves on both hands at quarterback, trying to throw that ball. Now he's a left-handed quarterback, throws it out left-handed, and he's in shotgun here, and he wants to run, and he's hit immediately in the backfield. A great play by the linebacker, Ulysses Badala, as Badala, stunted from the right side, met Alves immediately, and that's going to be a loss of about 2 yards. Will bring up 3rd down and 12 for McKinney Boyd, moving right to left.
Yeah, Badala not doing anything impressive there. He just wasn't blocked, found the hole. And, we've commented on it before. Basically, all Darren Alves needs is his offensive line and receivers to block 10 guys. He'll take care of the 11th. But on that play, Badala wasn't having any of that.
Something fell off of Alves as he throws something to the official. And now Alves wants to throw. Heaves it up in the air high, and it falls incomplete. Trying to hit, I believe that was A.J. Jones at about the 35-yard line, and the ball falls incomplete. Looked like that ball may have slipped out of his hand a little bit.
Well, and I've never liked gloves as a former receiver. My personal opinion is that gloves do not give you the proper hand on the ball. You can't feel it. You know, there's just some things your own hands can do that if you cover it up, they can't do. Catching is one. Obviously, throwing is another. That's why I'm not crazy about the idea of Darren Alves having a gloves on his hand. Unless he's going to run the ball. By all means, do it then. So it's going to be a 4th and 12 at this point for the Broncos.
Oh, in a punting situation.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're inside their own 20. So this is obvious punting time for the Broncos.
Here's Yarbrough back at his own 5-yard line. Punts a high wobbly kick. Not a great kick. Going to bounce at the 39 in Boyd territory still. But take a nice roll across midfield into Marshall territory at about the 47-yard line. So Marshall will set up shop at their own 47, moving left to right. The McKinney Boyd defense will come out on the field now for the first time. And why don't we go ahead and give you the starters on the defensive side of the football for McKinney Boyd.
Keith Owens, defensive end.
Reese Redmond, nose guard.
Justin Cordova, defensive end.
Miller Burns, outside linebacker.
Cameron Mixer, inside linebacker.
Ron Garrett, inside linebacker.
Zach Adamczyk, outside linebacker.
Fargo Bolinas, cornerback.
Lamar Peoples, cornerback.
Philip Sears, safety.
Jake Siegler, safety.
First down and 10 for Marshall. And on the field at quarterback for Marshall is Jackson Hood. He, remember, brought Marshall back last week from the half, and he's going to end around, reverse it, and looking to throw was the wide receiver, but now he decides better and tucks it up and gains about 2 yards. It was Darius Jones, the other quarterback, who was in the slot. He handed off to Jones. Jones wanted to throw it initially, but couldn't find a receiver.
Yeah, great job there by Jacob Sigler, free safety on the Bronco defense. He wasn't fooled at all on the play, and let me tell you, if he was, that's a touchdown because the intended receiver got behind everybody.
Second down and about 8, just shy of midfield at the 48, and Jackson Hood goes under center. Two receivers to the left, now a man in motion to the right, and hand off to Clow up the middle, and Clow does not much, maybe a yard on the play. It'll be 3rd and about 6. Now Clow is the main focal point of their offense. 6 foot, 180 pound senior running back, 222 rushes this year for just over 1,000 yards, 1,093, 14 touchdowns, but he had 3 last week versus Texas High.
Well, he's got the ability to break the long run, too, a long on the season of 63, so he can really get it done from any, and right there you saw tough running between the tackles.
That's why I'm surprised both of these teams on the very first play opted to do a pass. You know, they've got strong running games.
3rd down and 6, 9:21 left to go in the first, no score. Marshall at midfield. And this is going to be Hood rolling in the option. He's struck from behind and brought down by Keith Owens. A loss of about 2 yards. It'll be officially a sack for Owens, and it'll bring up 4th down for Marshall, and they'll have to punt.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Monty, you got to think in a weather like this definitely favors defensive ball games because the passing game's already at a disadvantage. And when you have slow conditions like this, the action time that an offense has is greatly reduced, which allows the reaction time for the defense to get a little bit closer. So you'll generally find bad weather games are usually low scoring, so we should see a lot more defensive plays like this in the next 3.5 quarters.
The Marshall punter will stand at his own 35-yard line. Back deep is Philip Sears, and the kick will be a low line drive kick. Will bounce at the 25-yard line, and Philip Sears will let it go. It'll bounce now inside the 5-yard line, inside the 4 to the 3-yard line. So what was a low line drive kick with only 3 seconds of hang time
ends up being a 49-yard punt.
Wow.
Well, and that's exactly what we saw with Travis Yarbrough. He had a 36-yard punt his last time around. Up 20 yards of that came on a roll. And again, in a situation where the weather is like this, you're not going to have a whole lot of hang time. You know, the raindrops and the physical wind are going to stop it from being the long arcing punts that you would like, which means it's ever incumbent for a successful punt to have a strong roll.
We had a chance to talk to the other head coach, Cedric Harris, in this football, or before the football game. We'll listen to him describe the McKinney Boyd offense right after this play. It's 1st and 10 for Boyd at their own 4-yard line, moving right to left, no score with 8:20 left to go in the first. Alves is going to run it out of the end zone to the left side, escapes one defender, but makes his way up to the 5, so it'll be second down and 9. Here's Cedric Harris describing McKinney Boyd's offense.
The big key to them is, number 8, their quarterback, who's rushed for over 2,500 yards this year. He makes them go. He's listed at 5'8", 175, and he's a guy that really is a difference maker on the football field. We've got to get a handle on him. The other 2 guys that make them go are number 26. He's listed at 6'3", 210, and their running back, number 25, he's 5'10", 180. They have some very good size, very athletic, and they do some good things on offense and have scored points on everybody they've played this year.
Well, one of the guys he was talking about right then was Joseph Robinson, number 25, and Robinson just took the handoff in the backfield and actually went backwards for a loss.
Yeah, I got to tell you, the way this Marshall Mavericks defensive line's playing, they're moving them backwards at a great pace. They're getting a lot of push on the offense.
Alves throwing out of the end zone, another wobbly pass. Fuller tries to one-hand it with his left hand at the 15-yard line. Can't haul it in. It's incomplete. And another fourth down situation for McKinney Boyd.
Well, Monty, if you'll notice, Darren Alves is now taking the glove off his left hand. It's still right there on his right. And the pass didn't really get that much better. And you got to remember, too, just because your glove is off, it's still awful cold and awful wet out there.
It's a slick ball out there. Cold and rainy day in Tyler, Texas. 7:09 left to go in the first, no score. And Travis Yarborough will now punt out of his end zone, standing at the very back of the end zone underneath the goalpost. Wanting the snap, and he gets it. It's a low, slow snap, but he gets it, and it's a low, and another low line drive kick, and it bounce at the 30 and go out of bounds at the 36-yard line. So now Marshall has great field position after the 33-yard punt.
Well, and you'll hear a lot of people think that just because you punt, you're giving up, and that's not always the case, because look what happened with what Marshall did. They got a better punt when their possession ended than McKinney Boyd did, and all of a sudden their starting field position's 15 yards greater.
Well, and this is one of those games where starting field position's definitely going to have an impact. I expect this one to be low scoring with the weather right now.
2 receivers to the right, a late man coming into the game, and that's Dustin Fitzgerald, the tight end, and he'll finally get set. 2 receivers on the right, 1 on the left. Clow in the backfield. Man goes in motion. They fake the hand and give it to Clow over the right tackle. And he's brought down after about a 4-yard gain on the right side of the offensive line, which coming off the pile would be Reese Redmond, the nose guard. 39 tackles on the year and 2 sacks. And the senior stops Clow on first down to bring up second down and 6. With 6:42 left to go in the first, no score.
Funny to think that halfway through the first quarter, that last play we saw is the longest run for both sides, the longest play from scrimmage.
Boyd has been back deep in their own territory each of the first 2 trips. Here's another man in motion for Marshall. Handoff Clow up the middle. This is a trap play that Reese Redmond is going to actually carry Clow. Clow carries him. Somebody comes up with a football, and I believe that's Ryan Garrett at the 40, 35-yard line. Ryan Garrett takes the ball away from Clow, and now Boyd is in great field position.
If I'm not mistaken, the coaches for Boyd are right next to us, and the pile just kept moving, and I thought I heard one of them, come on, where's the whistle? And all of a sudden, Garrett comes out of there, and I don't know exactly what happened, because basically it was all 11 players for each side were next to each other right in that little pile, and all of a sudden we saw a blue one just streak out, and that was Garrett. Now, obviously no one was down, and now what a weird play.
And the officials are talking right at the 32-yard line in Marshall territory.
Well, there's no way this can come back. Everybody was standing up, and the pile was still moving forward.
And they do point towards that end zone, meaning that Boyd will retain possession. What a great play by Ryan Garrett to get in and take the ball away from Clow.
And let me tell you, in a game like this, in a weather like this, I mean, I know we've been harping on a little bit here in the first quarter, but it's plays like that that are ultimately going to mean the difference between loss and defeat.
2 receivers to the left, 3 to the right. Now Pittman comes in motion, stands behind Alves and just a bit to the right. He gets the hand right up the middle left guard. Met initially, breaks out of that tackle, makes his way inside the 30 to about the 29-yard line. So a 3-yard gain on first down gives McKinney Boyd a second down and 7 with 5:58 left to go in the first. Let's talk down with John Leidy on the sidelines. John, go ahead.
Guys, you talk about a big momentum boost right there. The ball game for Boyd is going to be on the ground. And with that turnover right there, that helps. Back up to y'all.
All right, thanks a lot. Mr. Lighty. Second down and 7 for Boyd. Alves in shotgun as always, 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. A.J. Jones in motion. They're going to give to him on the right side, being chased down in the backfield. A great play by Aaron Franklin, the 6'1", 195-pound sophomore outside linebacker. He basically sniffed out that play immediately and brought down Jones a yard or maybe 2-yard loss.
Again, another factor in how the weather is going to affect it. You know, we've seen him give ground and able to make it up and more all throughout the year. In a game like this, it's a lot harder because those kind of plays are impacted immediately by your ability to go forward at a fast rate, which is slowed down in this type of weather.
Call it a 4-yard loss. It's 3rd and 11 with 4:59 left to go in the first. Alves in the gun, sends a man in motion. That's Pittman, and he's going to fake the hand to him. Alves runs to the left side, gets out of a couple of defenders, and only gains about 3 yards up to the 30. So, again, it'll be 4th down for McKinney Boyd, but this time they're at the Marshall 30 and not deep in their own territory.
Yeah, there's no question about it. This has been their, of course, we won't even get a playoff. Oh, wait, no, they're telling the clock to continue to wind. Again, you're at the 30-yard line. This is a tough call. Do you go for it? Do you punt it? You know, if you punt it, you're likely to pin them deep unless it's a touchback, in which case it goes only 10 yards further downfield. If you go for it, you might have a chance. And you know, again, the weather affects everything. The play calling definitely going to be different.
4th down and 8. Boyd's going to go for it, we think. They have quick kicked out of this position and formation before. Mazer comes back and stands behind Alves. Alves is going to run on 4th and 8. Comes near side, cuts up one defender, cuts it up the far sideline to the 18-yard line. It's going to be a first down for McKinney Boyd. When you need a big run, call up 19. That's Darren Alves.
Well, and you knew it was going to be all Darren, either via a punt or he was going to run it himself because Cameron Mazer went into the backfield. And I can't remember a time this year where he's gone to the backfield and gotten the ball. He usually acts as the lead blocker just as he did that play. Simple off tackle to the left side, and nice job also. Jeff Fuller on the wing there on the slot position. He got his block on the cornerback, allowing Alves to spring to the outside.
They'll actually give him the 20-yard line. So 1st and 10 from the 20. Alves in the gun, and Pittman behind him. Pittman gets the handoff, running left tackle, and about a yard or two down to the 19. Ulysses Badala makes the stop for Marshall. It'll be 2nd down and 9. 3:52 left to go in the first quarter. No score at Tyler's Rose Stadium.
Well, you guess we got to be encouraged by that 4th down conversion. Again, you know, we talked about it in games past. When you need a first down, you more than likely are going to go with Alves, and he almost always delivers. And then he did it today in a game with this implication. That's huge.
Fuller and Jones on the near side. Mazer comes back with Alves. Jones goes in motion from left to right. Fake the hand to him. Alves is going to have to run. He's chased down from behind, and a nice play from the backside defensive end. Leonard Lutell and also Orlando Mukes, the nose guard, makes the stop.
Yeah, kind of curious what happened there because in the backfield, Alves just kind of waited a little bit like he was running a draw. We knew he was going to run the ball, and that allowed Luffy to come back around the backside and basically grab his ankles.
3rd down coming up right now. The Broncos 0 for 3 on 3rd and long. 0 for 3 for the game as well.
3rd and 10 here. 3 receivers to the right. Now A.J. Jones comes to the left, and Alves takes his place by running right. Trying to find the corner, cuts it back inside, and nothing doing there. It's going to be 4th down again, as really Marshall has played great with the outside linebackers. Aaron Franklin again, and Ulysses Badala, the leading tackler for Marshall, doing a great job of scraping over and forcing Alves to either cut up inside and not make it to the far side.
Yeah, you almost think that if the weather wasn't wet, that gives Alves a little bit more of an advantage out there because if you watch him, you know he's a little bit slower than what we've seen in the past.
Well, if they went for it before, might as well do it again. 4th down and 10 for Boyd, 2:12, and Alves wants to throw. Rolling left, throws it in the end zone. Cameron Mazer catches it. It's touchdown time in Texas. Cameron Mazer hauls it in at the goal line, right on the L of Tyler Lee.
Well, a simple play. It was one of those or rather, I guess it's a play-action pass, if you will, that looked like a quarterback draw. And then what happened, and when the receiver wasn't there, it looked like Alves was going to run for it, and that brought the safety closer to the line of scrimmage, leaving Mazer wide open in the back of the end zone.
Watch the extra points today. Cold and rainy. Snap is back. It's blocked. It is blocked, so this one could be one of those games of special teams field play, and it'll be 6-0.
Ulysses Badala coming through and getting that block kick or extra point.
2:03 left to go in the first. 6-0. Boyd on top. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Trinity Mother Francis Rose Stadium in Tyler, Texas. Jay, how about an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap?
8 plays, 4 minutes and 8 seconds. A 20-yard connection between Darren Alves and Cameron Mazer, and the Broncos are in front 6-0 after a blocked extra point.
Here's the pooch kick. Oh, it's going to be taken and fielded by McKinney Boyd at the 15-yard line. It was the returner, Jeremiah Fisher, who couldn't get a hold of it. He tried to catch it initially, dropped it, and then he tried to pick it up, couldn't pick it up. It fell through his legs, and finally one of the Boyd Broncos jumped on it.
Well, and I don't know what he didn't look like he was in all that hurry to try to hold the ball. He was just like, oh, I'll try with this one hand, and I was on the ground. Let me just leisurely pick. It's a kickoff.
And what amazed me is at one point he finally decided, the heck with the ball, I got to protect myself. And he actually bundled up and prepared himself for the hit he was about to get.
By the way, one point I want to make quickly. MSD in their 4th game has finally scored the first points on Marshall.
That's true. The first points against Marshall in 81 years. 1:58 left to go in the first. McKinney Boyd with the ball and handoff. Joseph Robinson spinning out of a tackle to the 12-yard line. A nice 4-yard gain on first down. $1:50 left to go in the first quarter. Boyd leading 6-0, and A.J. Wilson makes the stop for Marshall.
Yeah, A.J. Wilson, the strong safety. That's the first time safeties really had to make a play on a running attempt that wasn't, Darren Alves on a 4th down conversion. So if they can start getting more of that, they'll definitely have a lot more success.
Man in motion, and that's Schmidt. He'll stand behind Alves and a little bit to the left. Alves is going to fake the hand, run left. He's got the 15, he's got the 10, and he barrels his way down to the 6-yard line and runs out of bounds. They'll give him the 5, so it'll be a first down. It'll be very close to a first down for McKinney Boyd.
And Darren Alves still playing as tough as ever out there. He lowered his shoulder on one guy and actually made Brandon Richardson, one of the secondary cover guys, lose his helmet.
So check this. It'll be 3rd and less than a yard, 3rd and about a foot. Full house backfield. Alves always in the gun, however. It's an I formation with Schmidt. And Alves is going to keep it right up the middle. Hit at the 5-yard line. May have it, may not. Let's check with John Leidy down on the sidelines. John's got to have a feeling for this, and you probably can tell one way or another. John, go ahead.
Guys, this is going to be very close. The ball is actually resting on the 5-yard line, and I believe that's what he needs for the first down. So let's check it as they're going to bring the chain out right here. Back with y'all.
All right, thanks, John Leidy, as it will be a first down. And they'll run the same formation with Schmidt dotting the I and Alves in the gun. Alves is going to run right tackle, a huge hole over right tackle, but he decides to cut it up a little bit left over the right guard, and he'll gain a few yards down about in between the 1 and the 2-yard line.
Yeah, when you need 5 and you pick up 3.5, you'll definitely take it on 1st and goal.
I think they'll give him the 2-yard line here, so it'll be 2nd and goal from the 2. 42 seconds and rolling in the first. Boyd already up 6-0, looking for more here. Another full house backfield set. Alves in the gun. Fuller split out way wide left. And Gibson way wide right. Alves runs it up the middle, spins. Not much doing, maybe down to the 1. And I think it'll be 3rd and goal from the 1. And this is something that Boyd's not used to. When Alves wants to run, he usually does what he wants to do. He's not really able to do what he wants to do today.
Well, and you got to remember, they do have a pretty good defensive line, the Mavericks there. B.B. Richardson's a 6'2", 200-pound end. Leonard Lofway, 5'11", 245, whereas the nose tackle's a 5'8", 205-pound senior.
Timeout on the field. We'll take 1-2. 6-0. Oh, that's the end of the first quarter. 6-0. Boyd leading and looking for more when we come back on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Rose Stadium. McKinney Boyd looking to score here. Second quarter is underway. Now moving left to right, McKinney Boyd. And it's 3rd and goal from the 1. This is Alves running right side, fighting his way in. And, the ball's on the turf. He was down. And they say touchdown. It's touchdown time in Texas. Alves, he dove and actually held the ball across the stripe. When he hit the stripe, the ball came out. But they'll say touchdown.
Well, it doesn't matter one way or the other. You can hear the Marshall fans booing. When you stretch your arms out and your ball hits the ground and the ball is still cleanly in your possession, it's going to be down whether it was a touchdown or not. So that they really don't have a ground to boo, and we had a perfect view of it.
Remember the missed extra point from a moment ago. Alves and company will go for 2 here, try to even up the score, and it might not be a bad idea all game long to go for 2 with this weather.
Oh, I would.
Alves fakes the hand. He throws it over the middle, and it's caught for a 2-point conversion. And Cameron Mazer catches it again. Alves faked like he was going to run, just took a step back and threw a lollipop right over the line. Mazer brought it in, and it's 14-0 Boyd with 11:56 left to go in the second. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Well, when you hear the pinball wizard, you know that Darren Alves just scored, and he did from 1 yard out. How about an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap, Jay?
6 plays, 2 minutes and 4 seconds, knocked off the clock. A 15-yard drive for the Broncos, and it wound up with a 1-yard touchdown run for Darren Alves, his 30th of the season.
Yarborough's going to kick it off to the 20-yard line, coming near side. All the way across the field is Marshall, and out of bounds at the 40-yard line, and that's Jermaine Woolen, who ran it back for Marshall. A.J. Jones will get credit for knocking him out.
Boy, and he did a big thing. He came all the way across the field, Monty, and fought off a blocker on his way, just hopped on the back and was able to spin him out of bounds. But I think that's because there was one McKinney Boyd defender in front of him, and he was being blocked, so I think that was a huge tackle.
They'll give Marshall the 41-yard line, so 11:48 left to go in the second quarter. McKinney Boyd up 14-0 over Marshall. Marshall coming in at 7-4. Of course, Boyd at 8-3. Marshall out of 12-4A, where McKinney Boyd is 9-4A. 1st and 10, moving right to left now. Man comes across the line is Owens, but he gets back, and Hood's going to run it over right tackle, and he gains a few yards. Cameron Mazer will bring him down at the 45-yard line. A 4-yard gain on first down brings up 2nd down and 6 with 11:36 left to go in the second quarter.
That was an odd play because we saw Keith Owens jump across. He got back. But you know how sometimes a quarterback will go ahead and snap it real fast to try to get him off sides? It looked like the center was doing that, and because the quarterback's in shotgun, he wasn't expecting it. He almost dropped the ball. And then it turns out Keith Owens got back, and he would have been offsides anyway.
Clow in the backfield, the only man in the backfield. As Hood goes under center, sends a man in motion, handoff Clow, and met immediately at the line of scrimmage. A great play up front. And the first guy there was Ryan Garrett, the linebacker. Well, actually, that was Miller Burns and Justin Cordova to make the stop. So 3rd down and about 5 for Marshall, moving right to left.
You know, there's 10:53 remaining here in the second quarter. That was just the 6th play ran from scrimmage for the Marshall Mavericks. You know, you factor in the fumble on the kickoff return and then the fumble on the previous possession. And right now, McKinney with that 14-0 lead.
Nick Grogan near side. Jermaine Woolen split out wide right. Clow in the backfield. Shotgun formation for Hood this time. He looks right side, throws, and it's caught at the 50. And spinning for a first down is the slot receiver Damian Smith. And Smith will actually make his way inside the, well, they'll mark him at the 45-yard line inside Boyd territory.
Well, I thought the Broncos had a chance to strip the ball out from Mr. Smith right there because, as my parents used to say, he was carrying it like a loaf of bread, you know, just kind of one hand curled around. And I'm going to tell you, especially if it's wet, boy, that is a mistake, and if he keeps doing it, it's only a matter of time.
1st and 10 for Marshall, moving right to left with 10:16 left to go in the second. Down 14-0 to McKinney Boyd, and this is the end-around reverse, and that's Jones coming near side. He's got the 40 and spun out at the 39-yard line out of bounds, and it'll be good for about 5 yards on first, bring up 2nd down and 5, and we're now the clock will stop at 10:06. Lamar Peoples knocks out Jones out of bounds.
Yeah, Philip Sears should have been there making the tackle, but he just took a very bad angle. And, you know, at this stage of the game, you can't give up plays. If you can hold them 3 yards back, that's something you really need to capitalize on.
2nd down and 5. Hood will stand in the gun now. And Clow in the backfield pointing out defenders. And Hood's going to drop back 2 steps. Looks right, throws it down the field. A home run ball at the 10 and into the end zone. It goes Jones, and it's a touchdown for Marshall. Jones just got past the safety, Jacob Sigler, and outran him, and Hood just laid it right in there.
Yeah, it couldn't have been a better pass. And you look at it, the rain's actually starting to lighten up, which makes passing a little bit easier. And I was just thinking to last week, Marshall, they were down at the halftime, didn't allow a point in the second half, and ended up getting exactly what they needed. And this is kind of a similar situation, down early, and here they come on a touchdown.
And the extra point for Marshall is good, and that's Alan Guzman who boots it through. So 14-7, McKinney Boyd still leading. 10 minutes exactly on the clock in the second quarter. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Rose Stadium in Tyler, Texas. A very dreary Rose Stadium. Jay, how about an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap?
5 plays, 59 yards, 1 minute 56 seconds knocked off the clock. A 40-yard connection between Jackson Hood and Darius Jones. That's now a 7-point game, 14-7. Broncos over the Mavericks.
10 minutes left to go in the second quarter, and here's the kickoff. Going to be taken right up the middle, and that's A.J. Jones to the 50, kissing goodbye to the 30, to the 25-20, 15-10. It is touchdown time in Texas. A.J. Jones, 84 yards on the return.
What a block by his return guys up front. They set the wedge up perfectly. A.J. could have drove a semi-truck to the hole they were setting up. Although, to be honest, the semi wouldn't have had the moves A.J. needed on the kicker. Got that. It's a foot race to the end, and there's not a whole lot of people who are going to catch A.J.
Well, they're going to try to kick it again for the extra point, and it's Travis Yarbrough. It was a snap. The ball was wet earlier, and the holder, Sieber, couldn't hold it in time to get it down on the tee, and that's what caused the block earlier. And we'll see. Here's a snap. It's on the tee, and the kick, ooh, it limps through, and it's good. 21-7. McKinney Boyd in the lead with 9:46 left to go in the second quarter. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. McKinney Boyd will fake the onside kick. That gives us time for a real quick American Bank of Texas scoring kick return recap.
84 yards in 14 seconds for A.J. Jones down the far sideline.
American Bank, the key to your dreams. Here's the squib kick, going to be taken at about the 20-yard line, cutting it up near side, now coming all the way to the far side, and a flag down right at the safety, Jacob Sigler, and we'll see what that one is.
That's likely to be a block in the back on the return team.
And for Marshall, that's a bad mistake because the block in the back apparently occurred right at the side of the tackle, so they're going to be backed up, and the call it is against Marshall.
It was Damian Smith on the return who actually brought it up to the 35-yard line, about a 15-yard return.
And the call was indeed correct. You know what, Monty, I really should do? I should keep percentage of how often I'm accurate on these because I think I'm pretty good. And, you know
what? We probably have a listener somewhere that keeps track. And
yeah, email the studio.
Yeah.
klake.com.
Yeah. 975klak.com.
And if you are keeping track, I want to meet you.
Thanks to everyone joining us this afternoon. As it is I imagine a lot of you in McKinney are listening today. It's a long way over here to Tyler, and it's a cold, miserable day. But it's not so miserable right now if you're a Bronco fan because the Boyd Broncos are leading 21-7 with 9:36 left to go in the second quarter. But remember, Marshall had the big second half comeback last week. Low snap for Hood. He's going to hand off up the middle for Clow, a big hole up the middle. And he spins to the 33, up to the 35, and down at the 37-yard line. A first down. Jacob Sigler, the safety, makes the stop for McKinney Boyd, but not after. Marshall will move the sticks here.
Yeah, as Jay pointed out earlier, they haven't run a whole lot of plays as this Marshall offense. And as they start to get a little bit more into the feel of the game, you would think they'd have a little bit more success. And, we saw last week they have the ability to score a lot of points quickly.
Jermaine Woolen comes near side. Nick Grogan split out wide right. Clow in the backfield sends a man in motion. That's Smith. He's going to fake the hand to him, give to Clow up the middle. Clow fighting for yardage and finally brought down by one of the McKinney Boyd linebackers. It's Zach Adamczyk.
Well, Clow starting to get things going now. 5 carries for 25 yards. That right there, just their 11th play ran on offense in this ball game.
8 minutes, 58 seconds left to go in the second quarter. McKinney Boyd up 21-7. And Marshall, moving right to left, has 2nd and 4 at their own 42-yard line. Shotgun for Hood. And it'll be Clow standing just to his right. And Hood gets it, hands off Clow, left tackle, big hole, and knocked down. Oh, what a big hit by Justin Cordova at the 46-yard line. However, I believe it's going to be enough for the first down. It'll be very, very, very short, or very close, I mean. They'll probably have to pull the sticks out here and measure. And that gives us a chance to talk to John Leidy down on the sidelines. John?
Guys, this is going to be very close. If this is going to be a first down, it'd have to be by the tip of the ball. Judging from my angle, it is going to actually be a first down. We'll see. They're bringing out the chains. Back up the y'all.
Yeah, they are bringing out the sticks right now. Of course, Marshall is the visiting team, so the actual sticks are on the far side. They're bringing them to the near side. The ball's on the left hash, on the near hash, right at the 46-yard line. They stretch them out, and it is, Brandon says, just a little bit short.
Oh.
And it is a first down. So if you're keeping track at home whether Brandon is right.
Well, that's not a penalty, so I don't care about that one. No, but the way you look, the referee was giving a real close look. Like it looks short, and usually when they do that, it is a little bit short.
Did he pull out his credit card?
That's usually the next step, yeah. And since he didn't pull it out, I thought, no, there's no way.
First down and 10 for Marshall, moving right to left. First down and 10, 8:21 left to go in the second quarter. Trailing McKinney Boyd 21-7. Shotgun for Hood. And Clow stands to his right. Three receivers to the right. Hood wants to throw. Rolls right. Looks now under pressure in the backfield. Escapes one defender. Throws it, and it's caught by Woolen at the 35-yard line. And Mazer finally brings him down at the 34. So another first down for Marshall with 8:02 left to go in the second quarter. 21-7 Boyd.
One good thing and one bad thing happened on that play, and it was basically the same thing. Because there was a receiver wide open on the far side, but because pressure was coming from that side, the quarterback had to escape, and because he escaped via the pressure, he went out to the near side and found the receiver all alone.
Again, shotgun. And a man in motion, that's Darius Jones. He hands off to Jones, coming right side on the reverse. Mazer chases him down and brings him down at the 30-yard line. A 5-yard gain on first down brings up second down and 5 with 7:42 and rolling here in the second. McKinney Boyd on top, 21-7.
Philip Sears coming in on a blitz from his safety position had a chance to really cause some disruption in the handoff exchange between quarterback and running back because he was there almost that fast, went to the quarterback, and he was able to hand it off just before being taken to the ground.
Second down and 6, call it. The scoreboard will say 6. Two giant scoreboards here, one giant one and one small one. I like it because there's a scoreboard on each end. Here's a handoff to Clow, left tackle, big hole, and he's got the 20-yard line. Another first down for Marshall as they seem to be rolling now, Jay. Jay's firing up that stat book. It looks like Marshall's moving the sticks quite a bit.
Well, 6 first downs so far in this ball game, and right there, 7 carries now for 39 yards for Andrew Clow, and they are starting to get this going. This is the 7th play of the drive coming up right here. This drive started at their own 24-yard line.
McKinney Boyd leading 21-7. Marshall knocking on the door at the 20-yard line. First and 10 for Marshall, moving right to left. Hood goes under center, hands off Cloud, left guard, big hole, and he's brought down at the 12-yard line. That was a humongous gaping hole that only Philip Sears, the safety, was able to clog up and finally to stop Clow, or he would have scored.
Well, that play started, though, up front. The center, Matthew Shepard, big kid, 6'3", 296 junior. He got that started up front, and it just created a huge hole for Clow to run through.
Yeah, it's kind of scary the way that this Marshall offense is starting to move. That the safeties for Boyd making way too many tackles at this point.
Clow all alone in the backfield. Hood goes under center, sends a man in motion. He's going to hand off Clow, right tackle, and a nice play immediately up front by McKinney Boyd. I believe that's Mazer, who stunts, and he actually got in the way of Clow. Clow was able to dive forward for a couple of yards, and that makes it very close to a first down, but not enough. It'll be 3rd down and 1 for Marshall at the 11-yard line. Trying for points here. Need the first down first. Hood goes under center, Clow in the backfield. And handoff to Clow, left tackle, and he's got enough for the first down. He'll make his way down to the 8-yard line. Adamczyk will bring him down. But now it'll be 1st and goal for Marshall. And really for the first time, their offense looks like they're clicking.
Yeah, they had a decent drive, but it was keyed on big plays. This one, they're starting to churn out things like 3rd down conversions, which means you know your drive's working. And right now it looks like this game's got the makings of a similar one last week. And if you'd told me that before the game, I'd have laughed at you and taken that bet.
This is going to be a full house, double tight set, I formation. Clow now has a fullback in front of him. And Grogan, a bad snap, and it's picked up by Marshall. What a Tony Romo-like bounce. It came straight up to Sammy Foster, who was in motion. Foster, when the ball got out of Hood's hands, it fell on the ground and bounced right up to Foster, who kept on running and only lost a few yards back to the 11-yard line.
Yeah, and the weird thing is Foster was actually the fullback on that play. He was attempting to block. I mean, you don't see a whole lot of fullbacks who have that ability to real quickly, oh, look, ball, let me pick it up and run. You know, they're thinking, hey, let me go hit somebody, and that underrated play, but that's a huge one for Marshall.
Jermaine Woolen comes near side. Hood backs up in shotgun, handoff. Clow left guard, escapes through to the 5-yard line. It'll be 3rd and goal from the 5.
Right now, Marshall's running a lot of things between the guard and tackle gap on both sides of the line of scrimmage, and they're having a lot of success with it. And maybe something the coaching staff might want to look at is a way to try to clog that gap with something. Maybe a blitz, maybe stunning linemen, maybe tell the defensive ends to pinch while the linebackers go to the outside. Whatever's going on right now, Marshall's doing something that's allowing them to find that gap.
Grogan split out wide right. Woolen comes near side. Hood in the backfield in shotgun formation along with Clow stands to his right. And Hood wants to throw. Left side looking for Woolen in the end zone, and it's caught and dropped. It's dropped. 4th down. Woolen brought it in, but a great play out there to knock it away.
Lamar Peoples making that play. What he did was when the ball came in, Wolens would have had it. There was no question about it. He would have had the catch until Lamar Peoples came up, made contact with him. And I'm pretty certain he poked the ball out too, made contact with the ball himself, and therefore really saved this drive to this point.
First incompletion for Hood in his last 3 passing attempts. As right now, Hood 3 of 5 for 69 yards passing. They'll go for the field goal here.
Alan Guzman comes on for a 22-yard field goal attempt. Remember, it's a wet ball, and it's a bad snap. They're going to have to run it, and it's Hood, and Hood's not going to make it. Hood's down at the 4-yard line. A great play by Boyd to be heads up there. It was a bad snap. Hood just took it and ran right up the middle. Boyd was right there to bring him down.
Well, let me tell you, go back to Lamar Peoples. Now, how big is that? You go from 6 points easily to an attempt for 3 to all of a sudden nothing, all because Lamar Peoples didn't give up on a play where he was beat. I mean, that's great, solid cornerback play there. Now, what you have to do is an offense. You got 4 minutes, 11 seconds left till halftime. Run out the clock. Ideally, take as much time off the scoreboard as you can, and while continue to go forward and hopefully cap it off with some points of some kind.
4 minutes, 11 seconds on the second quarter clock. McKinney Boyd leading 21-7. Moving left to right from their own 4-yard line. Handoff up the middle, Pittman. Not much doing. He even got back to the line of scrimmage. May have even lost a yard there. They'll give him, I think, the 4, so it'll be 2nd down and 10 for Boyd. Now under 4 minutes.
You know, looking back so far at this first half, we've seen a lot of plays from Darren Alves coming on a 3rd down and 4th down after the first down looked just like this. And I still have to go back to one of the comparisons I made earlier in the season of Darren Alves and the Mad Magazine guy. We say, what, me worry? Not a big deal, so what? He's about as cool as they come, especially for a sophomore.
He rallied his troops at half last week as there was suspicion that he might not return with that injury from his shoulder, but he apparently kicked the door open and said, we're not done. Here's Alves running left side in the end zone, breaks out of the end zone, now cuts it up near side, and he goes out at about the 7-yard line. So about a 3-yard gain there on 2nd down will bring up 3rd down and 7 with 3 minutes and 6 seconds left to go in the second quarter. McKinney Boyd on top, 21-7.
Well, credit the Marshall Mavericks defense for the job they're doing today. Although they're down 21-7, you got to think short field position played a role in 2 of those touchdowns. So far, they've held Alves in check, 12 carries for only 24 yards and a touchdown.
Well, they'll give him the 8-yard line, so it'll actually be 3rd and 6. Scoreboard says 3rd and 7. It's closer to 6. Mazer comes in the backfield. And another man in motion, and Alves gives it to the Joseph Robinson coming near side. He cuts it up to the right, and nothing doing there. It's going to be punt time for McKinney Boyd as a loss on the play.
Well, and Robinson actually bobbled it. I'm not sure if, obviously the carpet's still wet out there on the field. I don't think it's raining anymore. But that very easily could have been a bigger disaster than what the play actually turned out in the loss. But at the same time, over 2 minutes are going to be gone off the game clock. So they were successful in taking the time off, but Marshall can score fast.
Boy, if you ever needed Travis Yarborough's best punt, it needs to be right here. He stands about 7 yards deep in the end zone. Again, moving left to right. And a wet ball and all. Yarborough waiting the snap, and he gets it, another slow snap. He gets it off. It's a high spiraling kick, goes off the side of his foot, bounces at the 33, makes Marshall go backwards. The ball is on the turf, and Boyd is recovered again. Another miscue by Marshall. Brandon Richardson couldn't hang on.
What is going on with these returners?
And Tyler Terrell picks it off the turf for McKinney Boyd. He actually fell on it. What a great play.
Well, and he had a chance if he wanted to pick it up, but he did the smart thing and just falling on it, because essentially that's likely to be the last possession of the half one way or another. And at the same time, down here at the goal line, we've got a Boyd Bronco down.
Well, we'll check and see. We haven't been able to see who that is yet.
Yeah, he's surrounded by people, and even when there wasn't, they don't have numbers on their shoulders. And there was no way we were able to see, since he's on his back. We couldn't see the front numeral either.
Well, we can do the well, now he's going to get off the turf. I was going to say we could take a timeout, because when I do, they always get up. And I believe that's the safety.
Oh, man.
Jacob Sigler.
He was favoring that left, or rather right leg
now
momentarily.
He's walking on his own now.
And then, after a couple of steps on his left foot, started walking on his own power. So that's a good sign at least. We won't speculate on anything, but he's definitely, right now, physically he looks fine from up here.
So back to the ball game with 1:39 left to go in the second quarter. 21-7. McKinney Boyd leading. Just recovered a fumble on a punt return.
That's
and now
Boyd,
Boyd,
third fumble recovery of the day.
And now Boyd moving left to right.
2 on special teams.
At their own 42-yard line, man in motion is A.J. Jones. He'll stand behind Alves, and he gets the carry. Right up the middle, A.J. Jones up to the 50-yard line, down at the 48, inside Marshall territory, and a first down for McKinney Boyd. Now a $1:33 on the clock. You know Don Drake would like to score here right before the half. We'll see if they hurry up right here.
Well, what a far cry from last week, where they were trading punches on every possession. Now Broncos are on verge of trying to cash in for the 4th time today, and Marshall's only done it once.
A.J. Jones in motion again, stands behind Alves. Moving left to right is Boyd. A.J., they fake the hand to him. Alves wants to run, in trouble in the backfield. He now goes right to left, all across the field. Now cuts it up inside, comes back to the right, makes another defender miss, up to the 45-40, 35-30, an incredible run. Alves won't go down, spinning out of another tackle at the 25-yard line.
Man, that kid's amazing.
Barry Sanders all over again.
Okay, so he came right, went left, came through the original line of scrimmage, basically dodging his way around linemen, came right again as he was going down the sidelines, went left before going right and out of bounds.
Like a bad game of Pac-Man.
It was exactly what you'd see in a street game.
Yeah. Well, and exactly what you see if you're playing pinball. Over here, over here.
Amazing. First down, a $1:10 on the clock. Alves, handoff, Jones up the middle, a big hole to the 20, spinning his way down to the 15-yard line, stumbling his way, I should say. Another first down at the 15. Move the sticks. 1:04 on the clock before half. 21-7, Boyd in the lead.
What a difference in drives. Last time they started at their own 4 on the shadow of their own end zone, ran 3 plays, took 2 minutes off the clock. This one they've gone about 50 yards and taken 30 seconds off the clock.
Fuller split out wide left. And Schmidt in the slot. And this is going to be a handoff. Joseph Robinson to the 15, and he's in trouble. He bounces out to the 10 and down at the 9-yard line.
That's almost a first down.
So 45, 44, 43, and the clock stops. Timeout, McKinney Boyd. We'll take 1-2. 21-7, Boyd leading. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK.
AK.
What an incredible run by Darren Alves a moment ago. And 41 seconds before half here. McKinney Boyd looking for more. It's 2nd down and 4 at the Marshall 9-yard line. Shotgun for Alves, sends Pittman in motion. They're going to fake the hand to him. Alves wants to throw, looking for Fuller in the end zone, goes up for it, and he can't come down with it. It goes off his right hand. It was thrown a little bit behind him and maybe a little too high, as Jeff Fuller will have the ball fall incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 4, 36 seconds on the clock before half.
Well, this wind is doing some crazy things here. If you look at the flags in the end zone here on the right side of the field, they're completely dead, but you can kind of see the rain sprinkling just a little bit more. On the left side, it looks like it's going from right to left, and on the other side, it looks like it's going the opposite way.
Robinson comes in motion, stands beside Alves, and he gives to Robinson, and that's not a good idea because he's brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Not a great offensive executed play there, and probably was just a great executed defensive play by Marshall.
Well, they do play in a tough district, and they've seen a lot of good offenses along the way this year, and they've got some pretty good defensive stats to go along. I mean, look what they did. They shut out Texas High last week in the second half when they needed to. So this is a very solid defense, and the fact that they've been able to put 2 offensive touchdowns up, and we don't know what's going on here, but they're on the verge of something.
Well, McKinney Boyd let the clock roll down to 4 seconds.
Field goal.
And we'll see if Travis Yarborough can knock down this field goal. Now the line of scrimmage is the 14-yard line. So it'll probably be a 31-yard field goal from the 21.
Well, here's a crazy idea, Monty, and I'm just throwing this out there for the sake of discussion.
Fake?
Why not?
Well,
exactly.
And you got to think last week, a very similar situation late in the second quarter. This Maverick team was trailing Texas High 20-0. A blocked extra point returned for 2 points. It was blocked by Ulysses Badala, who has already had a blocked extra point here today.
Well, but that was a give me. I mean,
well, yeah, on that particular block.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, back-to-back weeks with a block. The one last week returned 92 yards for a 2-point conversion. You got to be careful here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you don't want to give up any easy points with only 4 seconds to halftime.
Now, get this. There's a different holder for McKinney Boyd. Normally, it's Cody Sieber. Philip Sears will hold here. It's a 31-yard attempt for Travis Yarborough.
He was also the former quarterback last year.
And now looks like Marshall. Well,
looks like they've caught on to the fact that Sears is the holder.
There's a timeout on the field, and Marshall will call it. So we'll keep it right here. We're 4 seconds away from half, and there's some strategy going on across the sidelines here.
Because right as the first timeout that Boyd took, the field goal unit went on the field, and you know who went out to hold her? Sigler. And so it's like they're saying, yeah, look, it's just it's timeout guy, come on, you can't go out there. And then all of a sudden, Philip Sears, they're ready to do it. And the coaching staff, I guarantee you they saw that. And so they called a time and said, all right, we don't know what's going to happen here. So that obviously is now going to change the strategy for McKinney Boyd because they have to know that Marshall's on to something. That we don't know what yet because we haven't seen this year. But at the same time, they're going to be more on alert than, all right, here's just a field goal attempt.
Now Cody Sieber going out on the field now. Also Philip Sears. And it's going to be Sears. No, now Sears is not going to hold. Cody Sieber is going to hold.
I'm telling you, something was going to happen there.
Yarborough on for the 31-yard field goal. Sieber wants it, gets it, and it's a bad snap. And now Yarborough wants to throw. He backs up, rolls to the right, on the run, and he throws it, and he's hit as he throws it, goes out of bounds, and that's the end of the half.
Real quick, the reason why that was so important, him running around like that, is it took that time off the clock and did not give a chance for Marshall.
So that's the end of the first half, and what a great first half it has been for McKinney Boyd. 21-7, they lead over Marshall. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK.
In today's fast-paced lifestyle.
Welcome back, Tyler Rose Stadium. Boyd 21, Marshall 7. And let's hope all of us Boyd fans, I'm sure, are that the score resembles something similar at the end of the next half of play. Right now, I'm Brendan Helms. I've got, of course, Jay Lindley to my left. And now, so hadn't got a lot of airtime thanks to technical difficulties today, John Leidy. And, John, probably of all four of us, you're the one who gets the most coach time, if you will. What do you think's going on down there on the sidelines?
Well, first off, after the first two possessions for Boyd, Darren Alves came off the field and said, hey, I'm having a hard time gripping this ball and actually throwing it. So you've seen after the first two possessions, they basically ran the ball with the exception of when they threw for the 2-point conversion. But something else is Darren Alves took a shot actually on that second touchdown to score to his left shoulder that he injured last week. And he came off the field kind of hurt and everything, but you've seen Boyd do what they did last week. When they came off the field, they've started to take their offense and run it in different ways with the two other running backs, Montarius Pittman and Joseph Robbins and A.J. Jones. There's actually three that got the ball there and taking the pressure off of Alves. The one comment that I made to myself in my head was when Darren Alves was being pinball wizard out there again, this was after he had taken that shot, I was like, hey, get out of bounds, get out of bounds, get out of bounds. Don't take that shot because, to be honest with you, Marshall is laying the leather out there right now. If you notice, when they go into a pile, you'll see a helmet pop off or you'll see somebody's head get jarred. And that's something that, as Coach Drake would probably say, probably telling Darren Alves in the halftime, get out of bounds next time you get that much yardage down the field. Once you got that first down, get out because do not take that shot. We want you later in the game.
Well, of course. Well, and you just brought up, the fact that various running backs are now getting into the mix with Robinson and Pittman. We saw Jones. Jones had a couple of carries in that first half. Matter of fact, if you account for the kickoff return right now, Jones setting at 100 total yards in this game and to score. But we talked about this in the pregame. Someone other than Alves, once you start moving in deeper and deeper into the playoffs, someone else has to answer the bell. And down there on the sidelines, John, who is it that you see making an impact?
A.J. Jones has to make a big impact on offense and with the kick return, but somebody else is Cameron Mazur has made a difference on defense also. And that's someplace that last week you didn't see Boyd playing a lot of defense in the first half, and Cameron Mazur has really stepped up and had his hand on the ball. He's been around the ball. He's been seeking it the whole first half.
Well, it should be mentioned right now, Mazur in for Jamel Minor, who was out last week, out this week as well. Interesting story on him in the Dallas Morning News this week. He was in the hospital, of course, last week after having some surgery. He's doing well, though, doing better, and his mother saying that she appreciates the many words of support. Of course, we heard from Jones, and we'll hear from Monty Walker here in just a moment. Second half is almost upon us. The McKinney Boyd Broncos 21, the Marshall Mavericks 7. We'll be back in 60 seconds right here on 97.5 KLAK.
Welcome back to Tyler, Texas, Trinity Mother Francis Rose Stadium, Earl Campbell Field.
Can I buy a sponsorship somewhere? Can we name it the Press Box after me?
If you would have ran here the way Earl did, we would call it the home of Brandon. But instead, we call it the home of Earl.
Earl Campbell had, 4,444 collegiate yards. Brandon, what do you got?
Nothing.
I think he's working on 0.
I don't think any of us have any yards, so no stadiums named after us.
Does college game day count? Video game yards.
Yeah, if that's the case, I've had 8,000 yards in a career before.
Well, we're still working on Darren Alves getting to 20,000 in his career, right?
Hey.
He's over 1/10 the way there.
He's getting close to 4,000, so 1,700 yards away. So Alves. And by the way, his 30th touchdown of the season today. 30th touchdown of the season.
That's unreal.
That to me is even more impressive than the 2,300 rushing yards.
Well, he has scored at least one touchdown in every game he's played on varsity.
And let's also remember he's thrown a touchdown pass today too, and that's not included in those 30.
21-7, McKinney Boyd leading Marshall here. We're just about to begin the second half as two of the captains are meeting at the midfield stripe. It'll be Marshall receiving. They deferred early on, and it's the safety out there, Jacob Sigler, who's meeting with Jackson Hood, the quarterback.
Well, it's good to see Jacob's okay. Remember, he was out with that injury a moment ago toward the end of the first half there, and if he's out doing captain work, then you know he's going to be all right for the rest of the game.
Parker Bolinas and company come back out, and they'll be kicking off here. Again, Boyd moving left to right. That means Marshall will be moving right to left. Back deep to receive for Marshall will be Damian Smith. He'll stand at about the 5-yard line.
Now, y'all guys know how much I'm a big fan of deferring and waiting till the second half. So, because really, once you play the first half, that's really a feeling out time, and then you make your moves and see what happens in the second. And now Marshall really will have an advantage, I think, by doing that.
Yarborough will tee it up at the 40. We're waiting to be underway here in the third quarter. 21-7. McKinney Boyd leads here at Rose Stadium on a cold and rainy afternoon. And Cameron Mazur goes across the line, and the officials do not blow the whistle.
No, the likely will throw the flag once the kickoff comes.
And the kickoff is a squibber down the right side. It's going to be taken by Jermaine Woolen, and he makes his way up to the 29-yard line. Philip Sears brings him down, and Marshall will start right to left from their own 29-yard line.
Well, that's odd to me. I would think a flag would be there at some point, because right now at that point you're still in possession of the football, and if you tried to do that on the offensive line, it's obviously a little bit different scenario because it is special teams, but I don't know. That just seemed odd to me.
Could be a rule change at some point, because I know at one point that was an infraction. So Marshall will have the ball at their own 29. And Jackson Hood, the quarterback, will come back out. And remember, Hood came in last week against Texas High and led his team to a second-half comeback.
And he is the passing quarterback.
Marshall was down 27-10 at the half last week. Here's Hood running up the middle, a big hole, and he gets an 8-yard gain on first down to about the 38-yard line. So it'll be second and short, as it was a huge hole right along the right side of the offensive line. Blake Ford and Jake Bibb, the two offensive linemen, on the right side.
Never ceases to amaze me. As I say something else happens.
I was about to say, apparently he took offense to that passing comment, so he ran for 10 yards.
Jake Bibb and Josh Bibb, the two tackles for Marshall, are identical twins. Three receivers to the right side, one man in the backfield, along with Hood, who's in shotgun, and that's Clow. And Hood wants to throw. Now he wants to run. Now he looks to throw again to the left side, looking for Woolen down the field. Bumping and grinding. Woolen makes the catch at the 20 and strolls into the end zone. Lamar Peoples was in coverage. He's upset with the official, but he might want to be upset with himself because Woolen just ran past him. There was some bumping and grinding going on, but I think Peoples was just as guilty as Woolen.
Yeah, what I saw, I didn't see the whole pattern. I wasn't watching that particular receiver. But once I saw the ball thrown in that direction and I looked, it looked to me like Peoples was the one who was going to be guilty of interference. And likely what happened is, you're right, they both were, and so the officials usually sometimes will just let that go. Okay, you both did it, no flag.
Alan Guzman on for the PAT. Again, a slippery ball. It's on the tee. The kick's up, and the kick looks good. And it is. So 21-14, just like that. Marshall right back in this thing. 21-14, 11 minutes left to go in the third. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Rose Stadium in Tyler, Texas, where Marshall has just fought their way back into the game. After the kickoff, we'll give you an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap as Guzman boots this one away from the 40-yard line. A low line drive kick going to go out. Bounce at the 15. I thought it was going to go out of bounds. But A.J. Jones picks it up at the 10, comes near side, slips one defender, cuts it up. Now jukes one defender and goes down at the 15-yard line. A 5-yard return by A.J. Jones. Jay, how about an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap?
2 plays, 71 yards, 1 minute knocked off the clock. A 61-yard connection between quarterback Jackson Hood and wide receiver Jermaine Woolen. Hood on the afternoon, 4 of 6 passing, 2 touchdowns, 130 passing yards. So the rain hasn't affected Hood at all.
It's affected John Leidy, who's got his hood on down there, though.
Well, I would if I were him.
10:50 on the third quarter clock, 21-14. Boyd in the lead, moving left to right. Pittman in motion will stand behind Alves in shotgun, and Pittman gets the hand and nothing doing. A loss on the play. And give it to Marshall. They have really sniffed out the run game. It's Leonard Luttel. The left end was right there to make the stop initially and make it a 3-yard loss on first down to bring up second down and 13 from their own 14.
Well, Mr. Luttel has been very active on that defensive line for the Mavericks. He's been causing a whole lot of havoc for just about everyone but Darren Alves.
Alves in the gun with Mazur. Three receivers left side. Alves wants to run left, gets a block from Mazer, cuts it up to the 15, up to the 20, spins out to the 24-yard line. Again, shy of the first down. A nice run by Alves, but it'll bring up third and short. 10:07 left to go in the third. 21-14. Boyd in the lead over Marshall.
You know, I guarantee you that the Marshall coaches know when Cameron Mazer goes from the slot position to the backfield that it's going to be a Darren Alves run, and they still can't defend it. You know, he usually does one of two things, left or right. And this time he went left, and he still got enough to get him in a great position at 3rd and 1.
Alves in the gun, 3rd and a long one. Pittman comes in motion, stands beside him. Mazer in shotgun, or actually Alves in shotgun. Handoff, Pittman, big hole up to the 45-40. Makes his way up midfield, outrunning a man to the 40, 35, and down at the 30-yard line in Marshall territory. A great run by Pittman.
Sawyer Hall's going to get credit for the tackle, but he should have made it 20 yards ago. But you know what Pittman was doing? Every time Hall got close, Pitt wanted to give him a little stiff arm, push him away, and give him a little bit more extra momentum, put Hall back a little bit, tried it again, and again Hall got pushed off by Pittman before finally just making a dive at his ankles and then ended up making the tackle. Big play for the Broncos.
46 yards on the run from Pittman. Remember, last week it was a 69-yard touchdown run by Pittman. They really broke open the game in the second half. First down and 10 for Boyd, now in Marshall territory. And Mazer goes in motion, stands beside Alves, looking for a block. Alves follows Mazer, now cuts to the right side, spinning out to the left side, and this time, big trouble as Ulysses Badala brings down Alves, and Ulysses says no.
Well, and he's a very prototypical linebacker, even to the point he's got one of those shoulder pads that has the neck brace, if you will, on the backside to keep the head from being snapped backwards. And from a psychological standpoint, that really kind of adds like a big muscular, you know, behemoth coming down on you. And that's exactly what it looked like as he gobbled up Darren Alves.
Looks like a giant bull coming right at you. It's 2nd down and 15 after the loss. They'll say 16 on the scoreboard, as Robinson will come in motion, and he'll get the hand right up the middle, and nothing doing there. Another great job by Marshall, the offensive or defensive lineman, to penetrate right through that line of scrimmage, and this time it's going to be Jose Rios making the stop.
Well, and right now the Boyd offense going in reverse. The last 2 plays have ended up in a negative 14 yards. So they've got to get some forward progress going here. Another 3rd down coming up. They're 2 for 9 on 3rd downs today.
3rd and 19 for Boyd. Had made their way inside the 30 to the 29, but now the ball's resting at the 38.
Let's break a long one again.
Moving left to right. Alves wants to throw, drops back 2 steps, looks left side, has Fuller. Fuller makes the catch at the 34, and he's going to be gang tackled. Goes nowhere at the 35-yard line. So it'll be 4th down for McKinney Boyd, and about 15.
Not sure I like that play call. It was very dependent on a strong pass, and you know, as much as we love Darren Alves, and you can go back highlight for highlight over the last season, you'll see how much we do. His big weakness is his ability to throw a strong ball to the outside. At the other end of the deal on his passing end, the biggest strength is throwing over the middle to a guy like Mazer or Fuller, and we've really seen some good results. In fact, a touchdown came that way today.
Well, we're still awaiting the 4th down play. It's 4th and 16 on the scoreboard. 7:44 left to go in the 3rd. McKinney Boyd leading 21-14 over Marshall here at Tyler's Rose Stadium.
Boyd 2 for 2 on 4th downs today.
This one's a little bit tough. 4th and 16 here for Darren Alves. 2 receivers to either side. Alves wants to throw. Lots of time. Throws a long home run ball, and it's intercepted at the 11-yard line.
Yeah, good as a punt. In fact, he would have been wise to not intercept it. Bat it down.
Brandon Richardson is the Marshall Maverick who hauled it in, but you're right. It would have been best for him just to knock that ball down.
Well, and it's funny, he's one of the guys who's had a fumble on the return, and so you would think, hey, let's field the return and drop the interception, but it's actually been reversed to that degree, and now instead of having the ball at the 36-yard line or so, they're going to start inside their own 15 at the 13.
That is Alves' 14th interception of the year compared to 9 touchdowns. But he's a sophomore quarterback, and he's known for his legs, not his arm. Here's Jackson Hood from their own 13-yard line. Marshall moving right to left, and Hood's going to hand off to Clow, running left tackle, and Clow gains some yardage up to about the 17-yard line. Again, 7:10 left to go in the third quarter. 21-14, McKinney Boyd leading Marshall here in Tyler.
Now's the point where a turnover would be one of the best things to happen to you, because right now I honestly think that this offense is a little bit better than the defense out on the field. So the reason why they've been very good to this point in the game is the fact they've been able to get turnovers, particularly one on defense, and stop the drive.
Clow in the backfield all alone as Hood goes under center this time. Two receivers to the left, one to the right. From their own 17-yard line. A bad snap again, and Clow falls on it. And this is going to be a loss all the way back to the 14-yard line. So it'll bring up third and about 9 after that. And that's about the third time we've seen a bad snap in exchange by Marshall.
Well, that's what I talk about. You know, that's not a turnover in the traditional sense that you turn the ball over to the other side. It's a fumble that you recovered, but at the same time, you lost 4 yards and a down on the play.
And you got to wonder how much of this is due to the new quarterback being in there, because he hasn't been in there for 6 weeks other than last week.
Well, he did pretty good last week, so I think it's probably the wet ball more than anything.
And Smith goes in motion. Hood wants to throw, looking right side all the way down the field. And bumping and grinding again, and is caught once again, and that's Smith.
There we go.
Makes his way to the 30, down to the 20, 15, 10, in the end zone. There's a flag down.
And I'd be willing to bet this game's salary that one's coming back.
Parker Bolinas was the man in coverage. There was a lot of bumping and grinding going on there. It was at the 47-yard line.
Yeah, and all the Boyd Broncos are saying come back. Here's what happened. On the play, Parker was in pretty good shape, not excellent shape, but he looked like he stumbled a little bit, and all of a sudden a hand comes down and just shoves him to the ground. And the funny thing, he didn't need to do that. He would have been able to catch the ball anyway, but because he did that, a 86-yard touchdown is taken off the books.
So in other words, you're saying Michael Irvin type of play.
Yeah, but a lot more obvious. I mean, it's almost like a video game exaggeration of just shoving him down to the ground before catching the ball. And like I said, I think Parker legitimately tripped over his own feet, so he didn't need to do that.
Well, and Hood, part of that's the quarterback's fault in Jackson Hood. Hood lets go of that ball quicker, gets it out in front of the intended receiver, and it probably does end up being a touchdown. But because it was underthrown, that's why Parker had the receiver on his back.
Yeah. And, that's another good point, Jay. So, really, there were a couple of things that did that. But, again, here's what we talk about, another big break that goes in Boyd's favor.
Well, not only do you bring back the touchdown, you mark the yards off.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is a bad penalty all the way around.
So it's 3rd and 16 now for Marshall, backed up inside their own 10-yard line at the 7. Shotgun for Hood, and you know what? I'd do the same play again. Clow in the backfield, 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Man in motion, that's Smith again. And Hood wants to throw to the right side, right over the middle. It's caught and slung down is the tight end, Dustin Fitzgerald, and it's probably going to be a first down for Marshall.
No, it definitely is. They needed to get to the 17-yard line, and he got to the 19. So I don't know how you let a guy that big get that open over the middle, and especially on 3rd and 16, and you get 18.
5:41 left to go in the third. McKinney Boyd leading 21-14. Marshall just got out of a jam there. So
yeah, well, the good news about all of it, Monty, is that it ultimately was just enough to get the first down, and they're still inside their own 25-yard line. So obviously we would like not to pick it up, but they're still not in bad shape.
Hood goes under center, sends a man in motion. They're going to give the hand to Clow, and he plows his way across the 30 to the 33-yard line. About a 7-yard gain on first down for Marshall at their own 32-yard line. 5:18 left to go in the third. McKinney Boyd on top, 21-14.
Boy, one thing that Marshall's been able to do all day is run between the guard and tackle gaps. On the left side, it's Josh Bibb and Jared Hayes, whereas on the right side, it's Blake Forrest and Jake Bibb, because, as you said, Monty, the Bibb brothers are basically twins, so it's like having the same guy on both tackles.
And Clow's had great success because of that, 14 carries for 66 yards.
Second down and 2, under 5 minutes in the third. Hood throws over the middle, and Jacob Sigler pops the receiver. It could have been intercepted if Sigler would have been looking, but he was looking at the receiver. And the receiver was Andrew Clow, the wide receiver coming out of the backfield.
It's almost like Sigler didn't think to look for the ball. He was looking to drill the receiver, had a gift-wrapped interception and just couldn't wrap it up.
I'd rather have my safety go for the tackle than the interception any day, because you'll get a lot more tackles that way than you will interceptions and end up helping your team more. And again, that was been a hard interception anyway.
3rd and 2. Big play here. Handoff, Clow. Stopped at the line of scrimmage. Did he get enough? I believe he's – oh, this is going to be another pull the chain moment. As the ball is going to be spotted at the 34-yard line. They'll pull the chains here.
Ooh, it's
this
close.
One is so close. We'll check with John Leidy. John's down on the sideline, probably looking up at us. And we don't have John Leidy for some reason. John's not able to speak with us right now.
Bet he doesn't have his mic on.
We'll check with him in a moment. Right now they're pulling the chains. This one's going to be really close.
Yeah.
Another credit card, and it's another first down. Every time they pull the sticks, it seems to work for Marshall. A first down here. 4:40 left to go in the 3rd quarter. McKinney Boyd hanging on here, 21-14. Remember, Marshall came back on Texas High last week. They were trailing 27-10 at half and pulled out the 31-27 win.
Man, you would think that they would come up with something to stop that running game between the guard and tackles. I mean, it's not anything fancy.
Watch out, 3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far. And Jackson Hood in shotgun formation, drops back, looks right side, throwing it down the field. Parker Bolinas in coverage, and he goes up and knocks the ball away from the wide receiver, Darius Jones, who was split out wide right. Another great play by Parker Bolinas.
Well, that was the same play they scored a touchdown on. You remember you said you might want to run it again. Well, this time they waited a couple plays for it, but you see what Parker did? He was actually between the receiver and the end zone, not the other way around, which you traditionally see in cover corner. But what he did, he almost did a reverse Alvin Harper. Instead of, going up and catching it, he went up over and just bopped it out of his hands. A great job in coverage. You know what? I don't care how you get the incompletion. Just get it, and that's exactly what Parker did. I'm a results kind of guy, so I'm happy with that play.
2nd down and 10, 4:28 left to go in the 3rd. And again, 3 receivers near side. Smith goes in motion. Hood hands off Clow, running left tackle, a big hole. Look out. Phillip Sears makes the tackle, and helmets fly off. Cordova's helmet flew off at the 44-yard line. Another pull the chains moment as the ball's going to rest at the 44-yard line.
Again, running that same trap right between guard and tackle. This time it was on the left side, and the right guard, Blake Ford, went pulling. But I tell you, he got a hold, an easy hold on Zach Adamczyk, because he wrapped around the back of his jersey and dropped him to the ground, and it was an obvious penalty.
Well, they're going to pull the chains again here. It's another first down for Marshall.
It's their 11th first down of the ball game, Monty. 4th here in the second half, and this drive starting to grind on McKinney Boyd a little bit. 9th play of the drive coming up. This drive, if you recall, started at Marshall's 13-yard line, so they're building up steam here.
4:21 left to go in the 3rd, 21-14. McKinney Boyd hanging on here. Need a stop. The defense has been on the field for a long time. Clow stands alongside Hood in the gun. 3 receivers near side. Now Smith goes in motion. And Hood is going to run the quarterback draw up the middle. A.J. Jones is right there to bring him down, and he fights out of it. But others are right there to rescue him, including Zach Adamczyk. It'll be no gain on the play. A nice job by Jones coming over on the stunt. He hit Hood in the backfield.
Well, and that's odd to see A.J. come in on defense. I think that was a play that was specially designed to utilize his speed to get in the backfield and make a tackle, and that's exactly what happened. Again, he didn't bring him down, but I guarantee you hold up a quarterback for 5 seconds, somebody else is going to be able to get there too.
Call it a yard loss. 2nd down and 11 for Marshall, moving right to left at their own 44-yard line. Hood in the gun. Low snap, digs it out, looking right, throws it across, and it's intercepted by Cameron Mazer at the 45-40, cuts it up left side, now cuts it near side and down at the 33-yard line. A tremendous play by Cameron Mazer, who hauled it in one-handed with his left hand, tipped it up, and hauled it in.
I had the extreme fortunate circumstance to watch Mazer on that play when Hood went back to pass. Mazer thought about rushing watching the quarterback, and he said, you know what, I'm going to sit back here and play center field because they've been throwing that pass over the middle. So what does Mazur do? Exactly what you said, Monty. Reaches out, tips it up right to himself, picks it off, and now Boyd has a great opportunity. And I got to tell you, Monty, he's obviously, and I've said his praises all year, one of my favorite players on this team.
Cameron Mazur has a nose for the football. He's always in the right spot at the right time. Alves, handoff, Pittman in the backfield, and he makes one man miss, but a great play out there by the linebacker, Jared Gobert, who stops Pittman and actually drives him backwards. They'll give him forward progress, but forward progress was not to the line of scrimmage, so it'll be a loss of 2 back to the 35-yard line.
Yeah, that's a great illustration of the difference between last week and this week for the Broncos. Last week, they were able to block just about anybody they wanted to. This time, he makes one person miss, and he's still going to get sacked for a loss because there's 2 other guys there in the backfield.
Second down and 12 for Alves and company. Cameron Mazur comes back and stands behind Alves, and coming across is Joseph Robinson, who gets the hand, and he'll gain about 5 up to the 32-yard line. And now it'll be 3rd and about 9 for McKinney Boyd with 2:23 left to go in the third quarter, and Boyd leading Marshall 21-14.
Well, and that's you can say a gain of 5, 4 or 5 in this situation. On second down, it's generally pretty good, but when you're facing a third and 12-13, that's not out. You got to get more than that. Again, they've faced a third long all game long, and they've been able to convert, if not on third, on fourth down. And, the way their pattern's been all year, this is 4-down territory for them. So, really, they need to average 4 yards the next 2 plays.
I said 3rd and 9, make it 3rd and 8. Clock is rolling here, $1:45 in the third quarter. Again, McKinney Boyd leading 21-14. Ball's resting at the Marshall 31-yard line. Alves sends Pittman in motion from right to left. He'll stand right behind Alves, and he'll get the hand. No, Alves is going to keep it around the left side. Gets a block from Mazur, and Alves spinning out of a tackle up to the 27-yard line and goes down right there. So that'll bring up 4th, and now the ball comes out, and Marshall says they have it.
Yeah, he was down.
And the officials say that they do not.
Marshall would have had the 4 turnovers in this game if they're able to pick it up after the ball is dead.
4th down and 5 here, maybe less than 5. A tick less than 5. The scoreboard will say 4.
And that play is also another good illustration of just the team speed that this Marshall defense has, because you saw the crease that Alves had. You think, hey, man, he's going to get a great run out of this, and all of a sudden a white shirt's able to converge and make the tackle.
Well, there's 38 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter, and there's 10 seconds on the play clock. It's 4th down and 4. Pittman goes in motion. Boyd has the ball at the Marshall 27-yard line. Handoff, Pittman up the middle. Fighting for the first down to the 21-yard line, and a first down for McKinney Boyd. 20 seconds left on the third quarter clock.
My first thought was that it was going to obviously be a Darren Alves run, and when Pittman got it, I was like, well, what's going on? But apparently the Marshall defense was thinking the exact same thing because of Pittman's run. Nice little first down burst there on 4th and 5.
Now the clock stops just enough for the sticks to move. So
let me ask you, Monty. They've had a lot of rest here with the defense being out on the field. Do you just let the clock run out, or do you want to run your play?
Well, there's 12 seconds and rolling here, and apparently that's going to be the end of the third quarter as Boyd is coming off the field. There's 7, 6, 5, and they're going to turn around. And it's fourth quarter time in Texas, and McKinney Boyd leads 21-14. We're going to be back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK.
97.5 KLAK.
Welcome back to Tyler, Texas, Rose Stadium, as Alves is going to hand off to Joseph Robinson, spinning out of a tackle to the middle of the field, but this one's going to be coming back. There's a hold against McKinney Boyd.
Yeah, nice little play if you take the hold out of it. Pretty close to getting a first down on first down. But the reason why it was so good is we're not sure who it was, but one of the linemen got a nice little hold in there to free him.
Well, it'll be first down and 20 now for McKinney Boyd. They'll bring the ball all the way back to the 31-yard line in Marshall territory. So 31 yards away from pay dirt here in the fourth quarter. 11:54 left to go in the game. 21-14, McKinney Boyd leading here. Really need to punch it in for some insurance. Mazer comes in motion, stands beside Alves, and Alves wants to run left side, gets a block from Mazer. Alves cuts it back, and now is in trouble again, and the ball comes out. The whistle blew, but the ball comes out, and Marshall is going to take it to the house, or they're going to bring it back.
Now that one, I made the snide comment earlier that Marshall, would have had 4 more turnovers. That one was really close to being a legit turnover. The problem was, not a problem, it's obviously a good thing. Darren Alves' forward progress was stopped and he was going backwards.
Here's the problem. Ryan Garrett did the same thing earlier in this football game. When momentum had kept going, they never blew the whistle. Ryan Garrett took the ball out of Clow's hands and took it back.
The difference,
and this is the same situation, and yet the whistle blew when Alves was going back.
The difference was the Marshall running back was still going forward, gaining yards. This time, Darren Alves was going backwards and was wrapped up firmly.
Wow, what a break for McKinney Boyd. Pittman comes in motion. He'll get the hand right up the middle, a big hole to the right side, and he bear crawls his way inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. His knee touched at the 29. The ball actually made it all the way to the 27. But they'll say his knee hit at the 29. It'll be 3rd down and 18 with 11:26 left to go in the game, leading 21-14 over Marshall.
Boy, one of the worst penalties you can get is a holding call, because now they're at 3rd and long, and even, let's say, that Pittman didn't get anything on that first down, you're still looking at a, 3rd and 5 instead of a 3rd and 18.
Boyd 3 for 10 on 3rd downs. 2 of 3, though, here in the second half.
This one's a long one, 3rd and 18.
And still 4-down territory.
Well, it pretty much is 4-down territory the whole game. It's been that way. Mazer comes in motion again. And also Pittman comes in motion. Pittman gets the hand coming near side, gets a block from Mazer, and bumps one defender inside the 20, down to the 17-yard line. And now you're talking about a 4th down that could be successful, as it's going to be 4th and about 6 or 7 after that run. A nice run by Pittman and a great block by Cameron Mazer.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be your first there, Monty. It's going to be 4th and 6. Maybe a long 6, but at the same time, sure looks a heck of a lot better. You get 11 yards on 3rd and 18. And, this is something they've really been excelling at, which is really rare for a young team to have the kind of poise to continually convert 4th downs. And you hope that pattern continues today, that the percentages still work in their favor.
3 for 4 on 4th down this afternoon.
The scoreboard says 4th and 7. Here you go. 10:04 left to go in the game. Pittman in motion, stands behind Alves. Shotgun formation. Alves looks left, wants to throw right, throws it, and it's almost intercepted, and it is again. It's intercepted at the 6-yard line. Coming up this time is Sawyer Hall, the outside linebacker, brings it in, and that is the 15th interception by Darren Alves this year.
Well, the funny thing is they've lost 12 yards out of it. Somebody should tell these guys, hey, it's 4th down. If you get an interception, knock it down. Because now it's just going to work out in favor of the Broncos again, because the defense, we've seen them bend a lot here in the second half, but only give up 1 score out of it. And now Marshall is going to have to go 93 yards for the tying score, and the likelihood obviously is a lot lower than if you're able to move the ball 12 yards forward.
Should be noted that Alves' last 2 passing attempts intercepted.
1st and 10 for Marshall at their own 7-yard line, moving left to right. 93 yards away from pay dirt. Shotgun for Hood, and Hood hands off Clow. Clow over left tackle, and he'll fight for yardage up to the 10-yard line. So a 3-yard gain for Clow on 1st down. Bring up 2nd down and 7. 9:41 left to go in the game. 21-14. McKinney Boyd over Marshall in what has become a nail-biter.
Yeah, and Marshall hasn't done a whole heck of a lot with their running game. It's been really a trap to the left, trap to the right between guard and tackle. It's been really successful. I'm glad to see that one only went for 3 yards instead of the 6 or 7 that it has so far.
Under center now goes Hood, and Sigler showing blitz. Comes up, big hole by Cloud, a nice play. Cameron Mazer knocks the feet out of Andrew Clow, And Mazer, I'll tell you what, if there is a star of the game, and there will be a Torchmark Corporation star of the game, Cameron Mazer has to have a lot.
Absolutely. He definitely made the tackle there. And you brought up Jacob Sigler coming on a blitz. He really helped Mazer out there because Sigler was right there going on the blitz. The carrier cut it up inside, allowing Cameron Mazer, who's not really that fast, but is really strong and has a lot of athleticism, to come in and make the tackle.
And you got to remember Mazer filling in for Minor right now. Minor, the leading tackler, out. Mazer doing a terrific job at that linebacker position.
Absolutely. Shotgun for Hood. And he drops back 2 steps, looks, sets up the screen. It's caught. And then breaking out for a moment, it's going to be a first down. It's caught by Jeremiah Fisher. And Fisher on the season, 23 catches, 308 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That may have been the biggest catch of the year for him as it moves the sticks with 8:22 left to go in the football game, and Marshall's trailing 21-14.
Yeah, and then you look down, John Lighty looks like he's got something for us.
Guys, in the first half, the rain was letting up a little bit. It actually poured down here at the beginning of the second half, all through the third and beginning of the fourth. That may play a role in both the interceptions. Back up to y'all.
All right, thanks a lot, John, who's fighting through that cold, rainy day down there. 3 receivers to the left side. And Jackson Hood throws it across the middle. It's caught by the tight end. And that's Smith. Ball's on the turf. And Willen picks it up. And now McKinney Boyd picks it up at the 46-yard line. The ball kept moving forward. Jermaine Woolen tried to pick it up, and he couldn't. And he kicked the ball forward. And then Boyd picked it up and fell on it. And it was Lamar Peoples who comes up with a football.
A very unorthodox fumble recovery, too. He slid and went basically at the base of his legs, if you will. I don't know the easy way to say that one, but he just slid, picked it up, held on to it, and again, it goes back to turnovers. That is the 4th fumble recovered today by the McKinney Boyd Broncos.
And 6 fumbles overall.
Oh,
so
man.
the rain definitely playing a part. 2 of those fumbles on special teams.
Marshall's doing everything they can to not help themselves out.
The officials have called a timeout.
It looks like
Thedrick Harris wants to talk it over with the officials. Now, Thedrick Harris, the head coach from Marshall, is 35 years old. He's also from Louisiana. He's from Shreveport, or Minden, actually. He was the Huntington High School defensive coordinator at Shreveport. It's where he started out. And was elevated to the defensive coordinator over there at Southwood. And he is very upset.
Well, I don't know really what he could be talking about. Nothing's reviewable here. There's no instant replay. I mean, the fact of the matter is the ball was on the turf, and the blue shirts came up with it.
Here's the thing, though. A lot of times coaches don't do this to get a play reverse. It's what's called working the officials. All of a sudden, if they think they may have given you a bad call on this one, they may start to get a little favor. And some of the best coaches aren't the ones who can strategize, but work the officials.
Gibson split out wide right. Fuller to the near side. A.J. Jones in the slot now goes in motion. He'll stand behind Alves. And Alves is going to hand off to Jones up the middle, and he has to slip down and is going to lose a yard, actually. It'll be second down and about 11.
I thought we were in a neutral stadium. Because on the scoreboard, it's yelling defense. You don't do that at a neutral site. But again, I go back. Marshall, I honestly
Especially when McKinney Boyd's the home team, right?
Yeah, that's the funny other aspect of it. But going back to the field, I honestly think Marshall, at this point, they're much more experience in everything but the turnovers. I honestly think if everything was equal, and you even said it in the stat show, Jay, I think Marshall's a little bit of the better team here, but they keep doing everything they can with fumbles and penalties and anything just to keep themselves behind.
Pittman in the backfield with Alves. He's going to get the hand right up the middle, and Pittman dances and is finally brought down, not after a big gain, only about 3 yards, but it's Sawyer Hall making the stop for Marshall.
And the scary thing, though, about that, Branding, and that realization you just had, and we got a timeout. We'll pick up that thought.
6:56 left to go in the game. 21-14. McKinney Boyd in the lead. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Well, a barn burner in Tyler, Texas. I don't know how you can burn a barn in this weather, though. It's freezing cold, and it's raining. But it's 21-14. McKinney Boyd in the lead here at Rose Stadium over Marshall. 3rd down and 9 for Boyd, moving right to left at their own 47-yard line. Mazer in the backfield. And now Pittman comes in motion. He gets the hand, and almost a great play by Marshall. But Pittman escapes to the 45, down to the 40, spins out of a tackle, inside the 35 to the 34-yard line, and a flag down at the end of that run. It was a first down, but we'll check the flag.
Well, I saw some great blocks that allowed Pittman to do that, especially there on the outside, and I think one of them is likely to be coming back. But the positive thing is it's going to be from the spot of the foul, and so it'll be marked off from there.
Well, it is going to be a first down.
Do we know that?
It should be a first down. The flag came in at the very end. The flag is actually thrown at the 39-yard line in Marshall territory, and that is about 4 yards past the first down marker. So in all likelihood, it should be a first down, and then they'll bring it, a spot foul should be bringing it back to.
I'm unfamiliar on the way the ruling is, because it's the final resting spot, so they mark it off and then determine if it's a first down, or if they got the first down, now it's marked off the penalty. I'm really hazy on that one.
Well,
and it looks like they've just marked it off to the middle.
Yeah, I may be wrong. So third down.
Well, and it's still a positive because they were looking at a 3rd and 8 or 9, and now it's only a 3rd and 5. Granted, they would have had the first down otherwise, but
yeah. So it's 3rd down and 5. 3rd down and 5. 6:30 left to go in the game. Alves sends Pittman in motion. Stands a little bit behind him and to the right, and he's going to get the hand. Running left side. Bumps it out to the left tackle. And he has a man dragging him down by the shirt tail, and that man does drag him down. Ulysses Spadella, the linebacker, brings down Pittman after a short gain. It'll bring up 4th and about 4.
You wonder, John came up during halftime that it looked like that Darren might have been hurt a little bit. We haven't seen a whole lot of him in terms of using his feet here in the second half, and that would have been big there. Now it's 4th down, and the punting unit comes on. Definitely not 4-down territory here. I think you got to be about inside the 35-yard line.
Travis Yarborough will come back to punt. He'll stand at his own 39-yard line. And Richardson back to return this one at his own 24. So not expecting a big kick from Yarborough at all on 4th and 4. He's 5:32 and rolling here in the fourth quarter. Yarborough, a high lollipop snap. He brings it down. A low line drive kick. Going to bounce at the 24, inside the 10, rolls inside the about the 6-yard line. A tremendous punt by Travis Yarborough. Tremendous. 42 yards after the roll. And Marshall will have the ball at their own 6-yard line.
Well, I got to tell you, not really impressed with the return ability of Brandon Richardson. He's muffed it that time, and this time he totally just let the ball go. Right now, each side's punting game has come on the roll. This is just fair catch it. You get the ball at the 25, 30-yard line, somewhere in that range. Instead, again, 94 yards away from the tying score.
5:15 left to go in the game. McKinney Boyd leading 21-14 here at a cold, rainy Tyler Rose Stadium.
Now time's a factor too. We're under 5.5 minutes.
Jermaine Woolen comes near side, split out wide. 3 receivers to the left side. Jackson Hood in shotgun will stand at his own 2, and he'll hand off to Clow, running left tackle. He's got a big hole up to the 15, cuts it outside to the 20. Look out, 25-30, 35-40, down to the 47-yard line. Clow goes down in the arms of Philip Sears, the safety, who finally drug him down. And Lamar Peoples was there too. But now you don't have to go 94, you have to go 53.
Well, and right there, Cloud just erased the 42-yard punt with a 42-yard rush. Cloud 19 carries for 125 yards now.
And Jay, I'm curious if you can get this for us, because again, it's just that same play. I wonder what their average yard per rush is, because again, outside of the trap that they've been running, they haven't done a whole lot via the ground. And you would think at some point they would do something to stop that one play.
Well, they're averaging 7.5 yards a carry.
Cloud's longest run of the year was 63 yards coming into the game. Smith goes in motion, and Hood's going to hand off Cloud. Same play, left tackle. This time, Zach Adamczyk makes the play in the backfield, and he has help from Lamar Peoples.
Same play, but this time Zach broke through that blocking scheme. And like I said, they're not doing anything fancy. They're lining up, running the same play, saying, here's what we do. Try to beat us if you can. We're going to need a lot more plays in the final 4.5 minutes from Zach and the other linebacking guys to get this done.
2nd down and 11, 4:22 and rolling. Now, McKinney Boyd has all their timeouts left, and Marshall only has 2. 3 receivers left side, moving left to right. from their own 47-yard line is Marshall. Shotgun Hood looks across the middle, and it's batted down. Justin Cordova bats the ball down.
Oh, Justin has to be careful there. He kind of taunted Hood just a little bit. And right now, when you're up only a score and you're giving them a 3rd and long situation, you don't want to do anything the refs might think, you shouldn't have done that. Let me throw an unsportsmanlike conduct flag on you.
A.J. Jones will check into the football game. Cameron Mazer will check out. It's 3rd down and 11. 4:06 left to go. Marshall desperately needs 11 yards here on 3rd down. 4:06 left to go in the game. Shotgun for Jackson Hood. 3 receivers near side. 1 to the left. Hood wants to throw. A.J. Jones goes up, and the ball falls incomplete. A.J. Jones on a blitz jumped up right in front of Hood's face, and I think that made Hood throw it a little errant.
Yeah, absolutely. He overthrew everybody there except Parker Belinas, who's on this side, and underthrew him. But the plain fact of the matter is that's one of the biggest miss we've seen of him. Now, let me ask you, Monty. You've got 4 minutes left. Would you, if you're coaching on the other side, go for it? Because I know I wouldn't.
I think you've got to punt it away here.
I agree, and they're going for it.
You've got 2 timeouts. If you don't convert this, the game could be over. Smith goes in motion. 3 receivers near side. Hood rolling right, under pressure, throws it across the middle. Phillip Sears had it and dropped it. But that's good.
Yeah, he learned from the other guy's mistake. Twice they did that. And, he may have had a lot of return yards. Who knows? But you know what? It's Boyd's ball inside Marshall territory. That is one of the best plays you can do. Again, pressure coming. It all starts with the defensive line on defense. And if you can get those guys to get in the quarterback's face, make him uncomfortable, he's going to have a bad time.
So McKinney Boyd will take over now at the Marshall 47-yard line.
Arguably one of the most exciting games of the year.
No doubt.
To get first downs. They've only had 3 in this second half.
3:57 on the clock. Run the ball. Alves, handoff, up the middle. Joseph Robinson bounces it out to the left side. 3-yard gain up to the 44-yard line.
Normally in this situation, you'll hear a lot of color commentators say, well, this is the point in the game where you need to run out the clock. I don't know if I agree with that because right now these guys have been able – we saw a long touchdown get called back. We saw them score on another long pass. They can score like that. I think what you need to do is score a touchdown.
Well, and let's just face it, McKinney Boyd does that by running the football.
Yeah.
The last 2 passes Darren Alves has thrown has not ended in good results.
And they were on 4th down. They ended up helping to some degree because it was like a punt. But, at this point, I would feel much better if we got just somehow 2 more points on the scoreboard.
2nd down and 7, 3:10 on the clock. Alves, shotgun, sends a man in motion. That's Pittman, comes behind Alves. And he'll get the hand right up the middle, and Pittman's not going very far, maybe a yard up to the 43-yard line. 2:58 now.
And only 145 rushing yards here in the ball game for Boyd.
Timeout has been called. We'll take 1-2 back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Tyler, Texas, Rose Stadium, where McKinney Boyd is leading Marshall 21-14 with 2 minutes and 58 delicious seconds left to go. Hopefully, if they can hang on here. Now, Marshall is down to 1 timeout after that one. Boyd still has all 3 if they need them. Hopefully, Boyd won't need them. But it's 3rd down and 6 here.
Well, bare minimum, they should be in a position to go to overtime.
From the Marshall 43-yard line. Mazer will stand back with Alves. 3 receivers to the left. Alves rolls left, and he is met and popped. And he'll not get the first down. He might get a yard or 2. And again, Marshall comes up with the football after the whistles blow.
6th time today.
So it'll be 4th down and about 6. We'll call it no gain, maybe a half yard for Alves on that run. Alves hasn't had the biggest rushing totals today.
18 carries for only 55 yards, by far and away his lowest rushing output of the season. You got to give credit to that Marshall front 4. They've done a great job.
Well, now Yarborough will go back and punt formation again. And everybody tight this time. And needing a great punt here from Yarborough again. Last time he put it at the 6-yard line. Needing something like that again. There's 2 minutes on the clock.
And they're going to let that game clock or play clock roll down as close to 0 as they can.
Well, it's at 8 7, 6, and now the snap. Yarborough's punt is going to be a high wobbly kick. It's going to bounce at about the 17 and be killed at the 15-yard line.
Again, it's not the greatest of bounces, but at the same time, if Richardson calls a fair catch there, they take it at the 20 instead of the 15. Now, this is arguably the biggest, actually unarguably, this is the biggest series of the day for either side.
It's the biggest series in the history of the program for McKinney Boyd. A minute 44 left to go on the clock. 21-14, McKinney Boyd leads.
Welcome to playoff football.
Class 4A Division I Regional Championship. Justin Cordova waving to the crowd, trying to get them off their feet, and they are. Jackson Hood in shotgun formation. 3 receivers left side, 2 to the right. 85 yards away from pay dirt for Marshall. Smith goes in motion. Hood throws it left side, and it's over and incomplete and almost intercepted by Lamar Peoples. Well, he overthrew his receiver out there, Darius Jones, who was in the slot.
Yeah, and Peoples was out there on the far side on the wide receiver, tried to make a diving attempt at that one. It would have been tough one way or the other, and I don't think he would have gotten it. But that shows you the effort that this Bronco defense is putting forth.
A.J. Jones, who was in on that last play, comes out. Zach Adamczyk comes back in at the outside linebacker. 3 receivers near side, 1 to the far. 2nd down at 10. Minute 40 on the clock. Moving left to right, Marshall. 2-step drop on the blitz. It's intercepted! Jacob Sigler picks it off and goes down at the 26-yard line. Uncle!
If there isn't a money play of the game, that's not this play. I want to see what it is. That it doesn't get any bigger. Again, it all goes down to defensive line pressure. They had not let Hood get comfortable in the pocket here in the second half. That's why it was so important to put him in long distances to go to get the tying score, because they had to would have passed. And when he does, he's just not comfortable. He's been overshooting receivers here in the fourth quarter constantly, and this one hurts.
And what a big play for Sigler, coming up with the interception. Had a fumble recovery earlier in this game. 2 big plays for the safety.
Whew. 1st and 10 for Boyd, who they're just going to line up in the victory formation.
Well, and this will further erode Darren Alves' rushing total.
Alves will lose 4 yards as he takes the knee from shotgun.
And I think he'll gladly lose those 4 yards.
There's a minute 31 on the clock. Marshall will take their final timeout. And McKinney Boyd, it's not over yet. It's a 1-touchdown game. Nothing's over until it's over.
Yeah,
but they look like they will advance, and we need to find the location for next week. Again, Copper's Cove won last night over Dallas Samuel, 55-7. So the winner of this game, and it looks like it'll be McKinney Boyd, will play Copper's Cove next week. Now, Cove loves to play in Waco.
Well, I hope we don't go down there.
And I know that Don Drake loves to play at Standard Stadium in Carrollton.
Boy, I hope we go up there.
So if they can't find a neutral site, I would imagine they'll be flipping on those 2 locations, but who knows?
Well, I wish they could just do it at the Cotton Bowl, so that way I can take a nice little ride over there, a nice little historic venue. It won't happen, of course, but
2nd down and 14, $1:31 on the clock.
Texas Stadium.
A.J. Jones in motion. 2 receivers right side, handoff, A.J. Jones up the middle. Oh, he's met immediately and brought down immediately by Arando Mukes, the nose guard.
Well, that kind of surprises me a little bit that they ran it.
Well, there's a minute 17 on the clock now.
I guess it's a little easier to set the ball after a knee than it is after a run, therefore takes more time off the clock.
Well, Marshall cannot stop the clock, but it's 3rd down.
And see, now they whistled it after 15 seconds came off, and I don't think that many seconds would have come off if Alves had kneeled it. Well, it's going to be real close to see if they can get this done, because they can't kneel it after this play. It looks like they're willing to take a timeout themselves.
Can we give Cameron Mazer our Torchmark player of the game?
We're going to the line of scrimmage. What do I know?
44 seconds. Pittman in motion. Stands behind Alves and shotgun. Pittman gets the hand. Ooh. He's met immediately. Go down, Pittman. And he does at the 41.
Actually, it may not be a bad thing not going down, because the clock still runs. Now there's 28 game seconds left. They're not going to be able to set it under 25, and that's game.
24, 23. McKinney, your Boyd Broncos are regional champions.
Man, I really love doing games next to coaches. In some ways I don't, some ways I do, because I love hearing I don't know if that came over the air, but these guys are just so excited when 25 seconds happen.
Parker Bolinas is going nuts. He jumped in the arms of Jeff Fuller. These Boyd Broncos are a very, very happy bunch. What an incredible game. A nail-biter. As it turned out, McKinney Boyd never even scored in the second half.
Second week in a row that Marshall has done that, held it on offense scoreless in the second half, but the difference was their offense, aside from that one running play, wasn't able to get it going, and once there at the end, where they had to pass, they were just completely uncomfortable doing so.
Well, we've got John Leidy down at midfield. He'll try to corral some of these players. And we'll see if he can talk to head coach Don Drake, maybe Cameron Mazer, and maybe Darren Alves. As Leidy in his camouflage down there on the sidelines is all – he's pretty easy to find this week. Let's
all
just
the
say
deer
that.
in East Texas are scared. John Leidy has arrived.
Well, the two teams were shaking hands at the center stripe in a very, very happy McKinney Boyd bunch. And Coach Don Drake is going to huddle them up and talk to him for just a moment. We're about to have the presentation. If John Leidy could get his microphone down in there in the presentation, they'll have the regional championship trophy presented to McKinney Boyd.
John, we haven't had the ability to communicate with him all day, but boy, he's been doing exactly what good sideline guys do.
I don't know if we'll be able to pick any of this up. Coach Don Drake addressing his team right now. And they're going to wait and have the school song there before Drake talks to them. And then they'll do the presentation of the regional championship trophy.
I think somebody said hypothermia. Did y'all catch that?
And I think Coach Drake is just waiting.
Yeah, because right now Marshall's doing their school song, and it's customary to let the one who comes up short on the scoreboard do it first, and then obviously the victors will do it second.
Yeah, you don't want to parade in front of their school song. That's good sportsmanship by McKinney Boyd.
Well, and I wouldn't expect anything.
McKinney Boyd is wondering how long is their song over there.
Yeah, it's been going.
My goodness.
I wouldn't expect
one verse and done. Come on.
I wouldn't expect much less from Coach Drake. He's about as solid guys as there is.
Tell just about who's tougher, man. Okay? Today you played your butt off in 4 quarters. You found a way. Defense. That's what it's about, guys. Defense wins championships. Okay? You guys played great today. It's a super job. That way, keep fighting to the finish, man. I'm proud of you. Get a little trophy presentation. Yeah! Be proud of it, but don't be outstanding job, guys. Great job. Still playing. We need the trophy over there. MJH on 3. 1, 2, 3. MJH!
All right, there's your presentation of the regional championship trophy presented to McKinney Boyd Broncos. We've got John Leidy down on the sideline still, and he'll try to corral Coach Don Drake. Whenever he's ready, he can just pop on with us.
Well, again, we faced the same problem last week. When you win a game like this, because, the family definitely make the trip down here. They'll fight whatever weather. And so now you got to fight them while they're in the school song. You got to fight them while they're saying, hey, Mom, hey, Dad, things like that. So, it's a lot harder to get these post-game interviews done in the postseason than it is in the regular season.
Don Drake's brother is here for the first time to watch a football game of Coach Drake's. I'm not sure where John Leidy's going. He's headed towards the.
He's going hunting. We know that. He's going over to the woods over there.
He's going hunting. He's trying to Hopefully he's going to try to get Coach Don Drake here in a second.
You know, I think we should, because I'm looking at John, I think what we should do is go to the camouflage look next year.
Yeah, you know, that's not a bad idea. And we'll try to corral Coach Don Drake here and have a word with him. As John Lighty's trying to find a few players here. As, you know, I don't think John's been able to talk to anybody yet. A lot of players are running past him. And we'll have to check.
Oh, there's about a 10-year-old or so wearing the same uniform that John is. I almost thought that was him for a minute.
You know, Montarius Pittman walking right behind John Lighty. John with the microphone, you got to stop somebody down there.
Well, and this is what, you know, we were again facing the same thing last week. They always do something, and I think they're going, remember how last week they went in front of the scoreboard to take a picture or something along those lines?
That's exactly right. See, John's ahead of the game. He knows exactly what's going on.
That's why he was
field.
pointing down there. That's why I'm going over to this end, and we're thinking, hey, you can't do them when there's nobody around you. But, you know, we rag on John a lot, and some of it's deserved, and a lot of it's just because he's kind of the rookie, and, you know, he's along those lines of, you know, good fun. And it's funny, they just took the scoreboard off.
Yep, they took the scoreboard down. They need to turn the scoreboard back on for the picture there. And
you saw a lot of the coaches turn around.
It's the same scoreboard crew that was putting defense up there when McKinney Boyd had offense. So,
well, it's all in the same East Texas area. So.
You know, Jay said something about East Texas early in the season. He's talking about how those East Texas football teams are. But they'll take the picture at the goalpost without the scoreboard on. And they'll have, you know, that's what Photoshop's all about these days, right?
Sure, yeah, you could easily do that.
Can have the MISD video crew could probably do something about that.
Hey, Chris, I know you're going to be editing this at some point. Leave that for those guys,
yeah,
okay?
There you go.
He's a fun-loving guy. He'll do it.
John Lighty in his camouflage down at the 25-yard line, working his way back up, maybe to talk to Coach Drake.
Well, and that's a lot of guy we don't get a whole lot of credit to. You know, True Image does a great job for us, too, and for McKinney ISD as well. John
Lighty is down on the field, and I believe he has Coach Drake. And whenever he's ready, we'll just kick it on down to.
Nice. More congratulations to going to Coach Drake, John. Just having to kind of watch all this happen. Well, that's the thing. When you're the victorious coach,
and he's standing right beside.
He's talking to the mic.
Standing right beside Coach Drake.
I wonder if he turned it off. This is going real swell.
And we get nothing from John Lighty. We're going to take a quick timeout. Again, McKinney Boyd wins the regional championship game here in Tyler, Texas, 21-14. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK.